Hey, Patriots fans, if you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots. Toyota, let's go places to infinity and beyond.
Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
That was definitely the meanest that you've ever been.
Yeah, well, sorry.
Sharp-tongued.
I apologize. We used to say, Belichick and Brady each made the other greater.
Yeah.
Belichick and Mac each made the other worse.
You continue to be mean. Good job, Fred.
Would you say the players had bounce in their step?
Oh.
No.
No.
Talk about a game where you're gonna be looking at silver linings. Do we want to lose? What team wants to lose more? First overall.
Make that pick. Make that pick.
Jack Jones has just recently started acting out.
So
Trying to
is
shoot
the
his way out of
intimation
town.
there that he's trying to shoot his way out of town?
I'm not sure if he knew what he was doing there or not, but
Fred always knows what he's doing. Shaughnessy wrote something along the lines of, aren't we being a little bit too tough on Mac?
I've been a little tough on that.
He's trying his best.
Hello.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium, and we're following up on a very lively Catch-22.
yes.
Yeah, you guys bicker like you're married.
Well,
That's the allure of it.
Yeah.
that's the show. That's it.
That's the show.
No, it's good. Good stuff.
Wait, only about running backs.
I was captivated.
While you were sitting in the dark in the other
Actually,
studio.
I felt more like a captive, but no, good stuff. Catch-22. If you didn't catch it live, you can catch it on demand. But this is Patriots Unfiltered. We'll be here for the next couple hours. It's Deuce, it's Evan, it's Paul, it's me, Matt in the booth. And it's Thursday. It's a big show, Picks Day.
The Queen will be down for the last hour to make her picks known to her
Okay.
to her subjects.
Not quite as good this week for the Queen, so
okay.
I don't know if she'll be around. We'll have to see.
A little bit of
No, I think she's aware. I asked her.
Dude,
sorry.
if I were you, I wouldn't laugh too loud.
I was under duress during the club show.
You were fine.
And
the club show.
the club show.
Gibson
That's
Club.
true.
The club.
The club
Yeah.
show. I watched a little of the video that we got, so there is some secret video out there
There
for
are
all the people
secret
that
video.
no one.
I keep on seeing
no one will get it, but
pictures and videos of our time in
Should
Germany.
we release it as one-offs if we can do
we
it?
could maybe clip some out of
Yeah.
it. I mean, Paul dancing on the table was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
tried.
he just got up and started working it, and we were all like, and he just had to move.
Yeah,
So
the shirt off, the nipple clamps. It was great.
Yeah, and we tried to see what we could do with that because we are putting together a sort of a Germany trip wrap up.
Yeah.
And there's clips that we put in from Patriots House.
how?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's hard to get anything without music.
Yeah.
in it.
Well, let's tease it. Friday, 7
I
p.m.
was just gonna
Yeah,
say,
Yeah,
yeah.
YouTube, Facebook, and then it'll be on Patriots.com, but a full wrap-up video behind the scenes of, maybe just a little glimpse with some of our content team. Got to see some football things that they haven't really ever gotten to see before. So
So if you're wondering what it was like in Frankfurt,
There's too
tomorrow,
many things there.
7 o'clock
Evan
Eastern,
and I both had the same thought.
is the worldwide
Wasn't a
premiere.
touchdown.
the worldwide premiere of our trip to Germany. And like Deuce said, behind-the-scenes stuff. So that'll be 7 o'clock tomorrow on all Patriots channels.
Yeah, and I just say, too, everybody knows what the game was, but it didn't do justice to what an awesome time it was there. And just for Patriot fans to gather in the middle of Germany from all over Europe and just that was the best part. And that's the stuff that we'll show. And, we know what happened in the game and all that. We don't need to go into that. But it was a great time.
Yep. All right, so what are we doing here? What are we talking about?
I don't know. I thought we were doing a radio show, but
I mean,
Didn't seem like there was anything newsworthy
no, it's
from the time that we signed off yesterday. to
quieting
today.
down.
yeah, I think the players are off today,
Yeah.
tomorrow through the weekend.
That's
They'll
probably
be
a
back.
good thing.
They'll be back on Monday. I agree, Paul. It's probably a good thing.
Yeah, we had locker room yesterday, and you heard,
That was an interesting
heard from a few of
locker.
those guys. Yeah, go ahead. You can jump in on some of those guys.
Well, it felt like the bye week. I mean, that's for sure. Like, there was card games going on. There was like one of the tables in there was like turned a different way, and I was like,
guy in the corner playing a piano.
yeah, and I was like, what's going on here? Like you walked in and it looked like a cyclone had just been through the locker room. Like everything was all out of place and in different spots, and it definitely had that bye week vibe. And I was cautious about saying that because at 2-8, you don't want to like highlight that they're kind of loose, but at the same time, that's the vibe. That was what it was like.
What are you gonna do? You're 2-7. I mean,
2-8.
Yeah,
whatever.
Did any of the players share their plans for the bye week?
Yeah, a lot of guys going home, wherever they call home, for the weekend, spend time with family.
I heard Jelani Tavai this morning on the Rich Hill show, and
Greg Hill.
He was talking about going to Disney World with his
kids.
His significant other.
Oh, right. I don't think he has kids.
Right.
He's got no kids. He's just excited himself. He's gonna get some Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah, we actually saw them walking around Germany on Saturday after the players were off, from meetings and stuff. So
yeah.
Jolly's a good guy.
I know a lot of players like try to go back to their alma mater sometime and show up on the sideline.
Yeah, a lot of college football games. Yeah, absolutely.
It must be a big thing. That it's like coming,
Go to your Thanksgiving.
Going back to your high school game after you.
Well, when Paul goes back to his high school,
Everett High School, the statue.
Oh, it's like they carry him in like Cleopatra.
He's back. He's back.
Yeah.
Who?
That's Paul
The lefty
Parillo.
The
Remember
lefty
him?
quarterback?
No.
No.
He's in the BU Baseball Hall of Fame.
It is. He really is.
I don't know why you guys have to make fun of it. It's a fact.
It is a fact.
Is that actually a fact?
Oh,
There's only one Hall of Famer sitting there. That's me.
He's in the BU Baseball Hall of Fame.
For now.
Baseball Hall.
I'll be in the Writers Hall of Famer someday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They have one of those?
I don't know.
Does Clintus
What
have
about
a
the-
Hall of Fame?
That's a good question for Ed, and the answer is no.
All right. 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Web radio at patriots.com is the email address.
Hearing a little from Jack Jones out in the Raiders. He said, kind of played it close to the vest. As I'm not going to say I was sure he would. You don't know what he's going to say, but curious how that's all going to work out and what's going to happen. And is he now suddenly going to stay on the straight and narrow with the Raiders in Vegas, or is this going to be kind of a tryout and maybe fade? I don't know.
Yeah. So
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that he brought guns to the airport in June, and somebody locally is insinuating that he started to act out when Josh McDaniels got fired and Antonio Pierce took over.
Yeah.
Like that, someone's really and they were doubling down on it yesterday. Like,
Don't name names.
Andy Gresh.
Oh,
yeah.
No, he talks. I mean, he's talking about it on the air. I mean, people know who I'm referring to. And listen, I'm not here to tell anybody, keep your takes to yourself. That's the business. But I just don't know how you can make the argument he started to act out when Josh McDaniels got fired.
He'd been acting
because he
out
knew. Now, did he know
was
that
in high school?
Did he know that Pierce was going to take over and probably would claim him? Maybe he figured his old coach would claim him if he was available. I
Really
don't
just took the pouting to a new level and really disengaged.
It's just it amazes me that you could make the argument that he started to act up at that point.
The kid's been acting
This
up
is
since-
just we were talking about this at Catch 22 at the end. Just I think a lot of people make the bill. Should the Patriots keep Bill or not about Mac Jones? Like this stuff with Jack Jones and J.C. Jackson and Trent Brown. Like it's all of it. Like it's just the whole thing has fallen apart. Like they have
And that's just the stuff we know.
right. They have there's no moral compass on this team anymore. Like there's no rules. Like what this 10 years ago never would have flown.
And I think about it, it's like we go back to those guys that they used to sign that were troubled and they would give a second chance to. Corey Dillon, good example, right? Comes in, they trade for him, has a huge year. They re-up. He starts doing what he did in Cincinnati, and it wasn't long. He was gone. Now, this is a guy who ran for over 1,600 yards and 9,000 touchdowns and was a huge part of the offense for a team that was absolutely dominant to win the Super Bowl. And they didn't let him, spoil the rest of the batch. You know, he wasn't around that much longer. It was like a year and a half or something like that. I don't know.
And again,
they got Maroney in the first round shortly thereafter and said, we got to get rid of this.
We've had the conversation a few times now. The locker room culture. Corey Dillon comes into it and goes like, yeah, it's not going to be tolerated here. And eventually, they've had enough of the situation, but it's not as strong a locker room as it has been. And so if you're a guy that has screwed around in the past, you find out pretty quickly, I can't get away with that here. Not forget about my coach. My teammates aren't going to allow that. The best guy on this team isn't going to put up with it. Tom Brady.
Yeah.
That's not the case right now. And I think every team, good or bad, have these things that happen. You've got 53 guys plus that circulate in and out of your locker room throughout the season. Things are going to happen. It's just inevitable. But when you're a good team and you're managed well within the lot, a lot of things don't see the light of day.
Yeah, I mean, it's the absence of someone like Willie McGinnis, and I don't want to trash Juwan Bentley. I think that those guys are good leaders and that they send the right message. David Andrews, Dietrich Wise, but I just wonder how much of it is the vacuum at the quarterback position, and that there isn't really that strong alpha quarterback that everybody kind of believes in to kind of rally around on both sides of the ball to really set the tone at the top. But you're right though. It's just they don't have a lot of star players who are totally committed and making the big plays, and the ones that like Willie McGinnis would hold everyone accountable, but he'd go out and play hard. And I mean, again, I don't want to get into saying that Bentley doesn't, but you know what I mean. That there's a difference.
True. And even the position coaches, Adrian Clem's a young guy. The Steve and Brian Belichick are young. They have a lot of young position coach guys. And I remember when Ray Hamilton was a position coach. And
Sugar Bear?
Yeah, I mean,
Sugar Bear.
He would, if you were a lineman, you didn't screw around with him.
Yeah,
like
Pepper Johnson.
Dante.
Yeah, you didn't screw around with these guys. Romeo Crennel, you wanted to do well for him because you loved him. It's like same thing with Dante, and that presence isn't there.
The coaching staff is I think, a big part of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've lost a lot of good coaches, and then good coaches that replace those good coaches, and even in some cases, other good coaches that replace the guy that replaced the guy.
Yeah, and we're not saying
now you're just down to a bunch of young, and I'm not saying they're not good coaches.
Right, or they won't be great coaches someday.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
But when you're a player, you see weakness. You're like, I can get away with this.
Yeah, I mean, you think about Josh McDaniels' last staff here. It's not Josh McDaniels obviously is the big name, but they had Josh McDaniels, they had Mick Lombardi coaching the receivers, they had Bo Hardegree coaching the quarterbacks, who's now the OC with the Raiders instead of Josh McDaniels. They had Carmen Brasillo coaching the line. They had all these guys, Nick Caley coaching the tight ends, that had been here, that were experienced coaches that just had been there. Nick Caley was on the 2014 staff as a low-level assistant. These guys went back a ways with this team and were in the pipeline, and now you just have all these guys that are just kind of coming up in coaching. Vinny Sinceri or Adrian Clem. I don't know.
Even
we know
Troy
exactly
Brown.
yet.
Ross Douglas. A lot of guys that it's their first real experience, and they're already position coaches. Whereas to Evan's point, the guys that were first-year position coaches had spent years in the system as coaching assistants before they got, the actual job of wide receivers coach or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So
do you guys think it's, the locker room stuff, policing the locker room like Fred was talking about? Do you think that what might make that a little bit harder now is sort of the offense-defense dynamic?
Yeah, and I think just losing in general, and you just, everybody kind of feels crappy when you're losing, and you start to just, it's not working. You're not maybe not resentful, but you're looking at other guys being like, these we're not going to be together. There's just bad vibes. It continues to spiral on itself. I think that's what I've learned.
The message gets lost because, all right, I'm not seeing any results.
Yeah.
The message resonates when you start getting results and the players say, all right, I listened, I did what he said, and look what happened. I'm playing well, or the team's playing well. But when you're not playing well, those messages, sound really hollow.
Yeah. I mean, I played on, I think, one or two bad hockey teams over high school, college, but I just remember the one in high school where it was where it was just couldn't wait for it to be over. You're sick of these guys. You're kind of bickering a lot with each other. It's just bad vibes that didn't exist maybe necessarily at the beginning of the season, but as you lose more games, you get more frustrated. You point fingers at, oh, he's not doing this, he's not doing that. This guy's getting favoritism. Like, it's just, that's what losing does. It makes everything worse.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of reports the last couple of days that Mac has lost the locker room. And
80%.
That people don't believe in Mac anymore in the locker room. And
20%.
To that point, like that 80%, 80-20, I think that was Andrew Callahan, right, that reported that. Like, which side of the locker room are you pulling, right? Because if you're pulling a lot of defensive players, then I can understand why a lot of those guys are probably looking at it like,
that's why I brought that up.
We've been good for 2 years, or at least, a team that's representative on defense for 2 years, and we're losing games because of the other side of the ball. And you have guys that are veteran players, guys that are playing through injuries, guys that are banged up, and they're all going out there and holding the Colts to 10 points, and then he can't even make a throw to win a game at the end of the game where his guy's wide open. It's only human nature. I'm saying I'm out on Mac Jones. I can't even imagine what some of the guys in the locker room feel.
I want to ask you about that Callahan thing, because I had somebody, and this is kind of like, inside journalism talk, but I think it's interesting, I hope. Somebody came to my office today and said, a writer should never use an unnamed source in an opinion piece.
All right, tell Aaron to grow up.
Only in a reporting. I said, what's the difference?
No.
I said, you form your opinion based on sources. What's the difference whether it's an opinion piece or it's a beat piece?
But I get frustrated with that. A lot of people think like that. I'm just joking around, obviously. But
no,
a lot of people think that the whole thing about you should never use an unnamed source. That's like...
Well, you have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you just have to vet your sources and make sure. Now, in this case, if only one person is saying that Mac lost the locker room, I'd like to ask a couple other people. Yeah. Because now I'm basing my opinion on only one other opinion.
And that's that's the whole all the presidents meant.
Yeah.
The two sources.
Two sources.
That's what struck me, though. It's just like 80%. You're putting that number on it. Like, how could you possibly?
Well, that's what someone told him, right?
Yeah.
That's what he said.
That's what I always say. Like, don't put numbers on it, because now it's like an exact number, and that's something that people can.
I didn't read his story, but I heard him talking about it with Fred on the Toucher, not Fred Church.
That would be about 40 guys.
Yeah.
Don't believe in Mac.
I think he said that's what he was told, is that it's about 80-20 right now of guys that he's lost. That does seem like a high number to me. But, I don't know. I look at, Mike Giardi has sort of talked about there were a lot of people that were sort of out after the New Orleans game and couldn't understand why he was continuing to get chances, which is why I don't think there was a sort of a line of thought that Bill taking him out. I think Mike Reese said this on the Sports Hub on Tuesday, that it was an emotional decision, very unlike Bill to make an emotional decision. I don't think it was emotional at all. I think he gave him chance after chance after chance, and I was surprised it took as long as it did. Mm-hmm. We were sort of wondering after the New Orleans game. He started getting questions after the New Orleans game. Is he the starting quarterback moving forward?
Yeah.
So I don't think this was like a rash decision based on one pick.
Well,
do you guys?
Well, no, I definitely don't think it was based on one pick. But in that moment, you have one drive left, and you're going to pull out the backup who's cold, been watching the game for 58 minutes, who's cold, so I could see you give Mac that last drive, he doesn't do it, and then he doesn't start the next game. That would make more sense.
But couldn't you make an honest argument? Who do you think had a better chance of making that drive, Zappy or Mac, and saying Zappy?
No, well, I think
because I don't think Mac had any chance of driving in that situation.
I don't know. I think you could make the argument either way.
The way that he came off the field.
No, I know.
You guys, Fred and Evan would know this better than I would. The way he came off the field, I would have said, there is no possible way this kid.
But I get in. If I'm Bill O'Brien or Bill Belichick, I said, hey, put your head up. You're going to have one more chance.
Yeah.
You're going to have one more chance.
Yeah, I'll take my chances with the other guy.
No, but I could make the argument either way that you give him that last chance, and then if he doesn't do it, then you figure out for the Giants who's your starter.
I think it could have gone. You could look at it one of two ways. Either that way, I think is a good argument, but I also think at some point you have to send a message to the rest of the team, like, okay, like enough is enough. Like we're not going to keep on running this guy out there that clearly can't get the job done, and let's at least see what somebody else can do. And I've been against putting Zappe in the game more than anybody probably, but at that moment.
Well, how fair was it to Zappe?
It wasn't incredibly fair to Zappe, but
Yeah.
I think that it was more than fair to Mac.
Yeah.
I think he had gotten more than enough chances.
Yeah.
Do you think it's significant yesterday that they had Mac at the top of the reps, or do you think that that's just we don't want to upset the apple cart before the weekend?
I think what
we're
that's to me
in
that
correction mode.
To me,
maybe?
that's saying we haven't made a decision yet, so we're going to stick with what
I
we
agree with
have,
Fred.
and then we'll see next week.
When you get back.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it's, we were semantics debating this on Catch 22. I think it's way more of a story if we were out there yesterday and Bailey Zappi
Right.
was taking first
And
team
now
reps
you've got a
over
whole
Mac
week of
Jones.
that before they get back here.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think.
And then the locker room was probably only like 72. Don't ask me to do math.
No, but I mean, we got issues. We got problems. It's
I
not.
don't think we can solve them.
That's
it's going to be for our Taylor
And
Swift.
and we're playing a
episode.
team that is equally in trouble.
Yeah.
A week from Sunday, and it's going to be a fascinating game, not from a standpoint of good football, but just dynamics.
Oh boy.
What if it's like the game of the year? What if they just come out and it's like a 38-35 shootout?
5-3. 5-3.
Can you? I guess you can score 5.
I mean, can you see any way that would be possible?
No.
5-3.
Yeah.
With
Well,
the
5-3,
these
yeah.
two teams?
Unless the Patriots defense just gives up, which they haven't given any indication yet that they are going to. But
Did you watch the Washington game at all?
well, listen, I think the Patriots defense
I agree.
has held up.
The defense has been fine.
Held up.
The defense is fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I just think that just looking, I get it. Like we all are probably looking for cracks and looking for quit in this team. They've going back to the Washington game and even going back to the Miami game, the amount of mental errors that they've made the last 3 or 4 weeks on defense is telling. I
Big
could
plays.
have used to count on one hand over a 3-week span how many times they busted a coverage where they just one guy was in the wrong coverage and it was a completely wide open receiver. That's now happened a handful of times. Jalen Waddle on the touchdown, the wheel route last week where the guy dropped the ball down the sideline as another busted coverage.
Yep.
In the Commanders game, the cross body throw by Sam Howell across the field, that was another busted coverage. You're just talking about plays like that where mentally it doesn't seem like they're as locked in as they normally
I
are.
thought the tackling was really, especially the Washington game. And it wasn't just guys are missing in the open field. It's like they have them, and then they're just sort of shrugging you off. Like that
They can't get his
quarterback.
quarterback on
That
the ground.
quarterback run.
It's
was
promising.
really bad.
Promising for losing to the
diving
Giants.
diving for his shoulders.
But I don't.
That's
But I
what we're
don't
going for.
believe that effort. I mean, we're taking the totality of the 10 games. I don't believe effort has been a big problem.
So
No.
over the years when we had the newspaper, we used to do the midseason awards.
Oh.
Because the bye usually
That's fun.
happened. Let's go through that exercise. And I
Okay.
know we're a little further than halfway, but we're kind of there.
I chose to do them in the notes for the league. Not, but only because we're 2-8.
So 2-8, it's tough, but let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go down the line. So far, rookie of the year.
Gonzalez.
Yeah.
DeMario
Definitely.
Douglas.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't. Gonzalez would have been, but
you get hurt if you don't play.
Yeah.
I still kind of say Gonzalez.
You guys are probably
I
right.
still say kind of Gonzalez.
That would be my pick, but they're
I
right.
think he's long term. I mean, I love Pop Douglas, and I think he's a piece of the puzzle. But I feel like Gonzalez is that's you have an actual potential star
yeah.
player. I mean,
You
get
do,
it.
No, you're
but,
totally
but
right.
he didn't
Yeah.
earn it this year.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make the club from the top,
Nah.
right?
He
Fair
played,
enough.
So he played in 4 games.
It's one of those two.
3.5. Yeah.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
And the other guy played in 9.
Yeah.
Defensive player of the half season.
Christian Barmore.
That's a good one, Ev. That's a good one. Yeah,
No
really
hesitation.
coming on. I mean, I don't know. Jabril? Yeah.
Well,
I was going to
Maybe.
say Peppers.
Yeah, I would say Barmore.
I would kind of say Barmore, though. I mean, I think Peppers has been good, but I just think
Oh.
Barmore is for the
You
same.
cheating on Jabril Peppers over there?
But for the same reason, though, I think this
not
is
go
a
unnoticed.
guy you really need up front. I think he can really make an impact. Jabril Peppers, I really like him.
Good pick.
How much impact does he make per game? I like his attitude and all that, but I feel like Barmore can, really have a presence in an area they need it.
Offensive player of the half season.
Oh, jeez.
Pop Shada? I don't know. Hunter Henry or Pop Shada?
David Andrews.
That's a good safe pick.
All of the chaos, David Andrews has been steady.
I know he's hurt now,
I'd
but
have to go Douglas.
But I think he played enough where I give it to Kendrick Bourne.
I would.
You know?
Fair one.
No.
Nah, I don't.
Okay.
Had a couple of good games here or there, but I don't know.
I'd probably go
It's tough.
Douglas over him just
I think
because
I would
of
go Douglas.
he's rising. But I get why Evan said David Andrews. I mean, I think if
Been
they didn't
really
have
solid.
him, it might completely be off the rails.
Yeah, and for his leadership too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I know
It's like
that doesn't
holding
really
it together
count.
with like
Yeah.
a string.
What are some of the
Farrell
other
Brown.
categories? Farrell Brown.
I mean, valid.
How about comeback player? No, Paul hates that one. Comeback
No,
player.
you can
of,
do it.
Comeback player of the half season.
Oh,
It's not Bill O'Brien.
that's a coach, Mike.
Right.
That's a coach.
Right.
Comeback player of the half
Who's
season.
come
Who's
back?
come back?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
I mean, Michael Onwenu, he wasn't really gone last year. He was gone one game.
Yeah, the injuries.
I don't know. Maybe we don't have one. You can, So,
Yeah.
No,
Well,
everybody's
nothing's really coming to mind.
Everybody's kind of back. I don't.
what's the play of the half season?
Block field goal.
Yeah.
Miami.
Yeah.
That was a
Field
great
goal
play.
against
I wasn't.
Miami.
Being, I wasn't even being ironic.
Okay. All right.
I would say the play of
Or
the
the-
season was Kendrick Bourne's touchdown in week 1. Because at that moment,
That was a good. Yeah.
the offense looked like, okay,
That's-
we got
to
something
me, that's
here.
the high water mark for the offense.
It
was
really-
those back-to-back drives in the second.
It's literally
quarter.
the most aesthetically pleasing play they've ran all year.
Okay.
It happened in week 1.
For me, because of like how we
Bills.
felt afterwards,
Bills.
was the Gasicki catch
Yeah.
for the touchdown.
Okay,
Yeah. Not a good-
that's a fair one.
It's not a great play, but just a great
Yeah,
result.
I
Like,
mean, I get
yeah.
it, and it was a great result. I just felt like the season was over by that point.
yeah.
I know that. I know the path was open for a lot, but it wasn't for me.
It was open, Paul.
It was open.
wide open.
I mean, I would kind of lump all that like
How did that
Ramondre,
door feel when it hit you in the face?
the Ramondre run, the Hunter Henry third down pass, and then the touchdown. If you all connected those, I mean, that's probably the best sequence.
By
of the
far and
season
away,
so far.
I mean, there is no second for the best
Yeah.
sequence, win,
Best
whatever you want
drive,
to say, everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
That fourth quarter of the Bills game.
What about the worst play of the half season?
That interception last week,
Yeah.
Mac Jones,
Yeah,
no question.
that's
Zero.
probably
Like,
true.
Yeah.
don't
It's the
even.
worst play of the last half century.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what
yeah.
would be second. I mean, there's a lot to choose from, but nothing really like rises above.
Well, maybe
that Mac throwback across his body.
you took the words,
Yeah.
right, the second one, yeah, against Dallas. Yeah.
Expand upon that thought, Michael.
I'm sorry, I'm going to need more information.
Yeah.
Oh man, that throwback across his body. But it's like I mean, look at the theme of it though. It's just these mistakes that like you just can't make.
There was a
It's
handful of
third-year
those kinds of
quarterback,
plays.
Like,
What's the headline of the half season?
The end of Bill Belichick.
and Mac.
The end is near.
Bill's future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, the
Yeah.
end is near.
Yeah.
The end is here, not near.
Any other
still 8
categories
weeks left.
you want to do?
I mean, they're probably negative ones.
I mean, is there an MVP of this team? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, that one I might say Peppers, like for the
We
sense
don't even
of.
have Nick Folk anymore. to fall back on.
I might say Peppers just because he's brought.
'Cause you like him.
I love him more
Just
than a
because
friend.
I like him.
Look,
He is a good dude.
he's a good guy. I mean, it's
I
just,
want to make fun of you, but he's a good dude.
Yeah, I mean, I also just am speaking to the loss of Judon was like monumental for off the field entertainment, and I feel like Peppers has at least given us a little bit of just personality and some fun and and some hard hits and all that kind of stuff.
What does that mean from No Socks?
Oh, okay. So he's such a jerk. So he claims that Jim, you might not remember this, Evan, because you were probably like 2.
Yep.
There was a game that the Patriots lost to Pittsburgh on a Saturday night in Foxborough, the old stadium. They had the game at the end. They were trying to get a couple of first downs. They threw a screen. Bledsoe threw out against Pittsburgh. Kevin Henry picked it off. And they ended up winning a really bad loss for the Patriots. And No Sock says that was the only throw we ever saw that was worse. And I was like, you're comparing
throw
the
Drew under the bus?
defensive lineman picking off a screen pass. Like screen passes, you don't look at your target. You run the play and you just throw it. You're not supposed to be there.
Right.
Here comes the Drew defense. How
Oh no!
dare you?
I could give you 800 picks
Oh.
by Drew that were a lot worse than that one.
It's true.
A lot worse because he threw a lot of picks.
For many teams.
He did.
Yeah.
You are correct. But anyway,
Including our team.
Matt has been busting my balls about that particular throw all week.
That's fun.
And he keeps sending me into orbit with it.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
What was young Ryland's best field goal of the half season?
Oh, God.
Oh gosh, I knew it. It was here. There was a
Was that
50-yarder he
50-yarder?
kicked.
Right.
Was that Buffalo?
I'm sorry.
I
I can't
I
do
think it
this.
might have been.
There's
might
too
have
many.
Yeah.
What a great kick that was.
Yeah.
I mean, man,
It
I'll
made
tell
it.
you, that one went end
It
over
went
end, I tell
right
you.
through the uprights. It was perfect.
Split the uprights.
Behringer's best punt. We get Alex back in.
He
The
did.
79-yarder?
Yeah, I did have a.
It's too far.
He doesn't outkick his coverage, though.
So if anyone wants to add to what we've said
Yeah.
or come up with their own category
But
and
let's play
answer,
nice, all right?
Yeah.
Don't be too mean.
Oh, you can be.
How
mean.
about
I don't care.
the 40-something yard play to Douglas in Dallas
Oh, there was hope.
for like
Yeah.
there was like a
hope.
best play kind of thing?
Yeah.
Well, except two guys ran into each other.
Right.
Listen, don't bog me down with details.
Split the hairs out.
The 64-yard run for
Yeah,
Stevenson.
that was
Stevenson.
good.
Yeah.
That was a good
Yep,
one.
Yep.
You know, when I called him
Gone.
upon the handoff being completed,
Yeah.
I think he is gone. That was a good run.
I was like, son
That's
of a
good.
bitch, he's gone.
I think for a long time that I can't remember a running back on this team running for that long and not getting caught from behind.
Yeah, the
Like LeGarrette Blount in 2014, maybe against the Colts, or a
The-
couple
the,
long ones.
whatever game in Buffalo, the wind game in
Win.
Buffalo.
But
Oh,
Damian
right,
Harris.
Harris.
Damian
busted
Harris
that
had
one
a
up.
long one.
Right.
I have
That's
kind
right.
of one. Just who are you most disappointed in?
Oh, let's start the list.
Who's the most?
I think Max up top. Most disappointed. I'm disappointed.
There's a lot of candidates.
Yeah.
I'm not mad. You're not mad at them. You're just disappointed.
Cole Strange,
Juju.
Juju.
Oh, Juju.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
I didn't think Juju was an upgrade over Myers,
And you were still disappointed.
You were right
but
about
I did.
that.
But I didn't think
You
this.
thought it would be about even, maybe.
Yeah.
I thought it
Yeah.
was. I thought it was a wash at best.
Yeah.
And if he didn't fit in, it could be worse. I didn't think it was going to be this.
Yeah.
Now it's
Yeah.
like, how do we get out of it?
I'm most disappointed in Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, that was where I was
Because,
kinda going when you started.
Even
this.
though
Couldn't-
I knew it wouldn't be great, I thought it would at least be NFL caliber. And he's got to take some of the blame for Mac falling apart. I mean, it
Yeah.
does.
How about Thornton?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's another good one,
I
Freddie.
don't know if I had any hope. On
Well, yeah,
that
Well,
one.
That's
no,
why, like,
yeah.
you know, when you start saying some of these guys, that's kind of how, I'm not all that disappointed in Mac. And I would put Thornton close to that because I wasn't really expecting this huge meteoric rise.
Okay, so
But they have been disappointing.
Yeah.
here's the next category. Biggest surprise. Now, Demario Douglas.
He's by far and
No,
away my biggest
but we
surprise.
saw things in training camp that's like, wow, they're using him a lot. Okay, so let's eliminate him because, like, we were seeing indications that this guy might be someone that they're gonna use. Who else? Like, once the season started, who's been your biggest positive surprise?
I mean, this isn't a sexy one, but I'm kind of surprised that Guy and Godshaw have played as stout as they could, and they haven't really fallen off
Okay.
as far as run
That's-
defense
that's
yet.
good.
Like, I kind of thought this year that, like, this could be when it finally turns with them, and, you know, it's not enough. You can't just have good run defenders, but they've played hard. They've played well. I don't think they've really, you know, a couple instances they've gotten run on, but they haven't gotten run over much this season, so I good for them. I mean, I was looking at we got to rebuild those guys, and I mean,
Yeah.
I think Godshaw will be here for a bit, but they played pretty
Yeah.
well.
Mine is Peppers again.
Yeah.
I think he's
Tavai's a good one.
Tavai's a good one. Yeah.
the
yeah.
highest graded player on defense.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Tobias?
Tavai
Tavai.
for
Yeah.
PFF. Yep.
Okay.
It's almost like, you can watch.
For a while, Jennings was trending for me, but he's kind of fallen off a little bit.
I think
He
he's
surprised
just-
me too.
Yeah.
I think Jennings has been pretty
He
good.
has.
Yeah.
I think he's just confirmed to me that he could be what I thought he was, which is a good, strong, stout edge
One-dimensional.
defender, and
Yeah.
you're not going to get much more out of him. But I said I'd be all to bring him back as depth.
Does
as
Pharaoh
as a
Brown
fourth guy.
count? And I'm being
That
serious.
does-
absolutely counts.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Has he done enough? Because I mean,
he qualifies.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like.
I'm not
minimum
talking about
minimum
his. Yeah, I'm
stat.
not talking about statistically.
I would say no.
Okay,
I think he does.
I
would say
will
no.
accept the ruling.
Yeah.
I will not strenuously object.
I think he's gotten a few teams on a few times, but it's not like he's a dynamic piece that every week is going to be involved. It's,
That's
you know,
because they don't feed him, Mike.
on the disappointment one,
Pharaoh.
on the disappointment one,
PHEED.
one we kind of left out, even though
PHEED.
he was also involved in best play for me, was Gesicki. Like, I thought we'd see a little bit more.
Oh,
from-
disappointing.
He's
Yeah.
just
Good
he's,
one.
He's
Yeah.
a flash
I think
in the
so.
pan.
I
Like-
thought about that with this about Gesicki, and not to like blame everything on Mac, but like the seams just are not open for this quarterback.
It's not.
He's just stopped doing it, Paul.
How many
he
times?
stopped doing it.
But he should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should. He cannot throw that pass. And Mike and
Yeah.
I have been on this since he was a rookie.
Yeah. So that's tough.
Up the seam was
was
always
tough for
dicey with
Gesicki.
him. Always.
But that's a good one. Like, we'll go back to what we thought, heading in. And, I may have been, critical of Juju for Myers, but I was not critical of Gesicki for Jonnu.
Right.
And I said, no, I can see, I'm with the fans on this one. I think that's an upgrade. It hasn't been. He's the same as Jonnu was here.
Yeah.
He's kind of a non-factor.
Juju Sanu.
Oh, boy.
No, it's Jonnu Gesicki.
Juju, I like Juju Sanu, though.
All right, let's open it up to the callers. We'll start with Alan in Canada on the Ace Ticket Hotline. What's up, Alan?
Yeah, it's a first time, long time.
Thank you.
I usually take the drive down 9 hours from where I live, and I go see a Patriots game every year. This year, I had the unfortunate circumstance to come and see the Saints.
Ooh.
So
You're looking
at
for
the
your money.
reality of this season, yeah, I had fun, but I've seen better games. Looking at the reality of where we are, I think last game is the perfect game if we could have the same scenario for the rest of the year. Meaning that the defense is playing somewhat well, knowing that we have good players coming back, and the offense is, in reality, good enough to be in there at the end of the game and then crash and burn at the last second and lose the game. Basically, that's what I want to see for the rest of the season, because there's no hope in this season. And at least with this type of game that we just had, at least I watched the whole thing. When I came and seen the Saints, people were leaving at halftime. So
And they were down 28 to nothing.
Yeah,
so.
I think there would have been people leaving at
least
halftime
it
if that
keeps it
game
more
wasn't in
interesting
Germany.
That we have a hope that we can actually win a game and then still lose it and get a good draft
Yeah.
pick.
I want to have my heart. I want a heart ripped out every week.
I like the still lose it part of it.
That's tanking one-on-one right there.
Yeah.
Like enough
Yeah.
hope that
Yeah.
we got something with the roster that isn't completed.
Yeah, and I get Alan's point.
Thanks, Alan.
I just would say, can we play a little bit more of an entertaining kind of
Right.
game? Like,
No.
do we have to see more of Bryce Behringer than anybody else? Like,
because this is what Bill wants.
I would
He wants to
I
win
would
the
like to
game
think you could
11
find
to
a way to
10.
lose a game, I don't know, 24-21. So at least you have some offense.
A little like 2017.
17-13.
this
Don't
game-
get the
This
lesson.
game in Germany is exactly how he wants to play football. though.
If I have to watch that game 8 more times,
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if I'll make
the
it.
Giants game might be.
Yeah, the Giants game I'm prepared for. I actually think the Patriots are going to kill them.
Al's in Wisconsin. What's up, Al?
Hey, how you guys doing?
All right.
Yeah.
So I've got two things. I'll try to be quick with it. The first thing is a challenge to the callers. If you're going to call and talk about Drake May and Caleb Williams, come with a take, not just, hey, who do you guys like? Drake May, Caleb Williams. Because I can't hear that 6,000 times between now and May.
Oh, neither can we.
Yeah.
It's gonna be May.
The second thing is...
Maybe.
Talking to your phone.
What do you guys take out of the reports of Bill potentially having even decided on where he's going to be next? Because if I'm a player and I see that,
No. Yeah, whose report was that?
I don't know. It's just been-
Orlovsky said it. It wasn't a report.
and Orlovsky's since walked it back because he's
Okay.
a wuss.
Because I think he has sort of gotten a lesson about journalism a little
Yeah.
bit. Like,
Yeah.
you can't just say things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw San Diego or Chargers. Was
Well, Gary Myers,
Yeah.
who had a report a couple days,
Thanks.
it's yeah.
that,
he's followed up with this whole thing, and I got to say, I think Gary Myers' initial report hit the nail on the head. I think that's exactly what's going
And
to
what
happen.
did that say?
It said that the Patriots, this is going to be it. The Patriots are going to continue to pay him, and if another team comes calling, there'll be compensation that the Patriots will ask for, but that this is it.
So basically, he'll step away from coaching,
He'll
like
step away.
Sean Payton.
Yeah,
did,
but he'll
kind of,
still
and-
be under contract, and
Right.
he'll be paid. But
I thought, for me, the first thing I thought of was Bill versus the Chargers social media team would be just
Yeah.
Oh my
World War
God,
Yeah.
So
I
you
hadn't
know-
even thought of
That's
that.
awesome. And I don't, I don't like to advocate for people losing jobs. But
Clean house.
if he got that job and I was on that social media team, I'd be punching up the old resume.
Yeah.
Doing, what is
But
this?
do you think
Cartoons?
like if you're Bill,
Anime.
like do you come into a new situation like that?
And say, I don't have time to
laying
deal
the
with all this little
right.
stuff.
Let
Like, let's
them
just
do what
coach
they
the
gotta
team.
do.
They're doing it. I
Right.
got 2 years here.
Right.
I just gotta,
No
I
chance.
just gotta get Justin Herbert to play, sound football.
So, Fred, I want to go back to the Gary Myers thing.
Yeah.
So,
Myers.
do you think that Bill wants to coach next year?
I do.
Do you think that let's just play it out, and so he's going to step aside, or he's not going to force Robert to fire him? He's going to say, I don't want to coach?
Well, yeah,
Like he's going to do what Peyton did.
I know, but
I don't want to coach you.
right, but
Right?
You
That's what
can't-
Peyton did. Peyton wanted to keep coaching.
you can't.
But he didn't
not
want to.
me.
He didn't
It's
want to
the
continue to
team.
coach the Wolves.
Just like you
Right.
can't force somebody to make you work, you can't force somebody to fire you. Like if they say we're not firing you, you're just not going to coach anymore. That's the
okay, but if
choice
Bill,
of the owner.
but if Bill
Isn't
wants
that
to
firing
coach,
somebody?
then you
Yeah.
have to fire him. Is my point.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
You just take away his responsibilities.
Then you have to pay him.
That's how it works.
That's breach of contract.
They are going to pay him.
But why?
His job's going to be to go to Nantucket.
They are going to pay
If
him.
he wants
we
to
need a
continue to
lawyer.
coach here,
Right.
and they don't let him do that,
Yeah.
then you fired him.
He's fired.
No, but not if you're still paying him.
So then you're telling him he can't coach anywhere else.
No, unless they give compensation. Correct.
Yeah, I don't see that all
Yeah.
happening.
Now
But you might be right.
Now the
I don't
question
know.
now, but it's a good question because what I was thinking
Thanks.
this out. How much compensation can you demand before the league steps in and says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! You're being unreasonable. This guy has a right to work." You're asking, and I'm just going to throw out a number just to be crazy, but you're asking for 4 first-round picks. That's unreasonable, and you're barring this guy from his livelihood, even though you're paying him. He wants to work,
A lot of
and you're
money.
not allowing him because 4 first-round picks is not reasonable.
Well, Sean
But
Payton
the
got
league,
2.
The league, I think in this case, when it was Parcells going to the Jets from here, and I think the league determined what the reasonable compensation would be.
But
And
what
I
I'm-
think the Patriots would have to abide by that.
But what I'm asking
'Cause
is,
it's not like-
what if he wants to coach the Patriots?
Yeah, well,
Not an option.
Not an option.
Right. then you can't stop him, and you can't demand compensation.
I think you can.
They're breaching the contract, Fred.
Parcells, it was the same thing with Parcells.
Parcells didn't want to coach the Patriots.
No, but he wanted to coach elsewhere.
Right.
And
Bill
this-
doesn't in this scenario.
Yeah.
This is hypothetical.
I know. I think though, just like a coach doesn't want to coach anymore, a team can say we don't want you to coach anymore, but we're going to pay you. So that
right, but then you can't have both.
no, but I
If he
think
wants to continue to coach the Patriots and you won't let him, that ends the contract. That's firing him.
No, I don't-
So you don't have
I-
to pay him,
may-
but he gets to go wherever he wants. Now, I think you're probably right. I think Bill, this is kind of hasn't really been talked about as part of this. Is how much does Bill want to stay?
well, that's the thing.
Maybe
So-
he doesn't want to stay anymore either.
So
and
let's-
in that case, then you could do what Fred said.
And I think that maybe it is brinksmanship on both sides' part, but if I'm sure the Crafts know whether Bill wants to stay or go.
Yeah.
Like,
Where his
and
head's at.
they're probably strategizing. Like, he wants to go.
You think they've had conversations about this already?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know
either.
I don't know.
What
You
is
think he has?
Why do you say yes?
Because I learned with Brady the hard way that none of this stuff happens overnight.
Yeah, good point.
And I just think that Brady, I think, knew that 2019 was his last season with the Patriots the entire year.
Yeah.
And
He told us that in the summer.
yeah, and I think that it's the same with Bill. And in some ways, that almost makes me feel better about what's happened, because the only explanation I can have of why he just let this whole thing just crumble to the ground is because he wasn't trying to begin with.
But let's play strategy here, and let's say Paul's correct. A team can't stop a guy who wants to coach, but
without firing.
Right, without firing. But let's say Bill. Let's say the Chargers, okay, just to name a team. Let's say Bill wants to go to the Chargers. He's already even had backdoor conversations with the Chargers, like, yeah, I want to go coach you.
Wouldn't that be ironic?
But
Spanos is-
but he doesn't want to go in his first year not having that first-round draft pick that the Chargers would have to give up. So he plays brinksmanship with the Crafts and said, "No, I want to stay." I
really think he's going to get a first-round pick, huh?
That's what my question is. Just what is a realistic compensation from a team for that?
I don't know if he will get a first-round pick, but that I'm holding a hard line on that if I'm Robert Kraft.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not giving him up for anything less.
But that's part of the brinksmanship that Fred's talking about. You can do that. Then you run the risk of him saying, "Okay, I'll stay."
Yeah.
But you don't want him to stay.
Okay.
Right.
You don't want him.
And that's why, to Evan's point, I think maybe it's better to just get it out in the open with the guy.
Right. And I think that's what all of this stuff is an effort to do. I think that, like to your point, you think Gary Myers might have it right. Well, I don't think Gary Myers just pulled it out of the air. I think he's probably talking to some people.
Yeah. But I think maybe it's better that they did already have that talk.
So, Paul, you're not going to let me imagine a fantasy land where we get a first-round pick for Bill Belichick?
No, I have no idea. Maybe they will. I mean, I find it maybe the Chargers, because that will probably be around 20. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe that could happen. Like, the Bears ain't giving you one.
No, but the Commanders would be around the same, like 15 to 20 probably, where they're going. I just think appealing.
I told you my sources in Washington say that Washington is not interested in Bill.
Yeah.
Oh. Now, I don't know if that's true, but my source. I don't want to say sources. I only had one.
With the Belichick from the Jets to here, Belichick didn't want to coach there. They wanted him to, but he said, "I'm not coaching for you." With Parcells, both parties didn't want it. Parcells didn't want to coach here anymore, and the Crafts didn't want him to coach here anymore either. But they wanted compensation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think.
That is the precedent.
Yeah.
That is the precedent.
I was thinking a lot about it last night, and I don't know about you guys, but don't you just I feel like it's going to be Gerard Mayo, right?
Probably.
It's got to be Gerard Mayo, right? I'm not saying I'm 100% condoning it, but
I would certainly say that's what the indications look like. I'm
here's
disappointed
the thing.
by that.
Here's the thing is, we talked about the Patriots never fire a coach in midseason, but teams do that, and they have done that. And one of the reasons they do that is so that they get a head start on the off season.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that if it is the Crafts, end game to have a new regime, they got to move fast. They got to move fast because you got the Senior Bowl and you've got to have people in place that are going to go and start that scouting process leading up to the draft. You can't wait around.
I think it will be Gerard Mayo too.
And that might be the quickest way to get going.
So, and I also will say, some of these things, there's two different things. I agree with you. The faster you can do it, the better. But that's why a lot of these teams that make these transitions keep the scouting department in place.
Yeah.
And Belichick himself did it here.
Yeah.
Bobby Greer didn't get fired until after the draft.
Yeah. True.
Back in 2000, because all that work and all that prep is done by those guys that are in personnel now.
I think Matt Groh will still be here too.
And he may go after the draft if they want to clean it all out. I don't know.
I think he might still be here.
I agree.
I always thought it was interesting that we have Matt Groh and Elliott Wolf. Yeah, I figured by now Elliott Wolf would be gone to another team.
He's so good. Does it so
Yeah, and I was thinking who does Bill take if he were to go to the Chargers? Would he but seriously though, I thought about that, but these are both two young guys with young families that are. This is all they know is living in New England. I mean, it's not just all right, Steve Bryan, we're going to that's a hard. I can't
see the LA thing for that. It just doesn't strike me as Bill Belichick.
No, and I just threw out the Chargers only because somebody else.
No.
Washington
Gary Myers, that was the number one.
He said,
that's the number one on that list.
And his follow-up story, he mentioned the Chargers.
I saw the tweet.
Washington makes the most sense.
I just like the fit of what they have there, of what that team's kind of persona is, and it feels like if Bill Belichick, and I'm talking about the proverbial Bill Belichick, not Bill Belichick right now, could come in and instill discipline into a team and get them all,
maybe
and they do anime,
right? Or kick a field goal.
It's going to be anime. Oh boy, fire the. But I thought the same thing too, Fred, that you said, where it's if he goes to a new place, does he have time and the energy to do everything that he's put into place here in terms of having everything under his thumb? Do you have that mental capacity now when you've got to go into a new team and you got to win? You can't just come in and spend your half your first day going through the social media productions and being this isn't going to work for me now.
Yeah.
It just seems I don't know. It's going to be hard for him.
I can't see the Chargers.
And we could all be wrong. Maybe he doesn't want to coach anymore. maybe the Crafts pay him, out his contract as thank you for your service.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I think that would be
can't
interesting,
see,
too.
I
Yeah.
can't see the Chargers
Yeah.
for two reasons. One, I think if you're the Chargers, you have to get an offensive-minded head coach for Justin Herbert because you just did it with a defensive guy, and it's not good enough. He's good enough, but the rest of it's not good enough. And I still don't know if the Spanishes are going to pay him.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if the Crafts are still paying Bill, then maybe. But if you're trading him, then you're not still paying.
But that's and that's probably only for a year anyway.
Right.
Even if you didn't trade for
The
him.
Spanos are not paying him $25 million a year to be
Right.
their coach.
Right.
Yeah. I think the thought I kind of came to on Mayo is he's kind of a good steward to get you over the post-Belichick hump. Now, I know everybody wants to hire the hot new offensive mind that is going to be the guy who partners with a quarterback and takes you back to the promised land.
Okay. Wait, I got something for you.
Is that realistic? Go ahead, man.
All right. So Gerard Mayo is the head coach, which I think is going to happen too.
Yeah.
I think that Josh is coming back. Josh
Really?
McDaniels is not getting another head coaching job.
Now I really hate it.
Would Bill take Josh with him at a news place?
Maybe, I don't know.
Would
but
Billy O stay and Josh
if you're
go with him?
if you're worried about the offensive coordinator carousel that we've had the last couple of years, he's not getting a third head
No.
coaching job.
He could end up being like the offensive coordinator for the Steelers that was there forever. Like,
He could be here for like the last time when he got fired by the Broncos. He's here for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think that Gerard Mayo as the head coach, Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator, that still keeps the fingerprints of what was successful here, but it's a different sort of guy running the show. And I'm with Paul. I don't really like it because I would rather just start anew. But I think that starting anew for the Crafts might be a little bit too risky for them.
I
Too
agree.
much Band-Aid
I mean,
pulling
I
up.
wonder, if Bill might take Steve. Would take Steve to be his defensive coordinator somewhere else, and
You
then
can take Steve wherever you
you know,
want.
and
Take
then
Steve.
and then Gerard, maybe it's DeMarcus Covington. Like how would it all fall out?
Like
Who would
DeMarcus
go with
Covington,
Bill?
the defensive coordinator here.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, and
Under Gerard, I could absolutely see
or
that.
Patrick Graham.
Yeah, or Patrick. I'm trying to make
I
peace.
threw that name out there, too.
Yeah.
Trying to make peace with the Mayo of it all, and I think that just where I arrived was like, is it realistic?
but you don't
want to
spread Mayo too thin.
Let's just keep Mayo on the side for the second and talk about.
He's the best. He workshops them and they come right out.
But a few years and he's the one who gets past Bill, and we get some draft picks. We start to acquire talent. Now maybe Mayo gets to a point where 3-4 years in, you're not getting to that next level, and then you need to make that offensive move finally. But I think I'm just trying in my heart to make peace with that move. Obviously, I like a lot about it, but there are things we don't like about that move too. But I think it could work in a way if our expectation wasn't that this next coach is going. We're going right back to the Super Bowl.
I think if Josh came back, because
I just want a
we
new
look at his
offense.
failures as a head coach, and we have to separate that from his successes as an offensive coordinator. And he dealt with the greatest of all time and had a great relationship with Tom Brady. It wasn't like contentious. Don't talk to me. I already know. Can't teach me anything. They got along really well. And then, as much as we know that it wasn't as good as some people thought, that first year with Mac
was fine.
was fine.
The
fine.
thing that bugs me though, Fred,
That's
the
not
thing
good
that
enough.
scares me.
Right,
It's not
but
good
if
enough.
fine,
But
maybe
good
Mac
enough.
It's not
wasn't
good
good
enough,
enough.
but that's because Mac wasn't good enough.
Right.
The thing that scares
So
me
is
we
everybody
heard-
else not good enough that he's coached either except for Brady?
What
Because
is-
he's never really had a great offense with that.
I know, but he was also the head
quarterback
coach.
by Brady.
Matt
Yeah.
Castle had a great offense.
What about when he was the offensive coordinator for the Rams and they had a historically bad offense?
It was a bad situation.
The other thing that scares me with him is the Raiders players this year. The reports coming out that they're like, we have this old offense that they don't want to modernize. They want to keep doing it the way they've been doing it for 20
That's
years.
what they said about him here when he left.
Okay.
That's the people that
That's
you
what
know.
scares me.
Again, I don't often talk to people because
Yeah.
people don't talk to me. But that's what they said about. They needed to. That's why they tried to change things.
but-
they didn't do it right.
I
okay,
know,
the
I
execution
know, but-
was poor
but-
with
but
Patricia
your
and
off-
Judge. But that's why they
I know,
wanted to change
But
things.
your offense is your quarterback. So weren't there reports that Josh McDaniels really liked Lamar Jackson when that draft came out? And can you? I
But do
gotta,
you want-
I got to
Really?
imagine
Can we
that
be
he
fair
would,
though and do all of those guys like Baker Mayfield?
He liked Baker Mayfield. Too.
Like we don't just put the one that won the MVP out there.
But it's all,
He also liked Tim Tebow.
I don't love it like with Josh. I don't. But at the same time, I think with Gerard Mayo, I do actually like a lot about Gerard Mayo.
I love a lot about Gerard
And
Mayo.
I think that he is. We talked to him, in the off season after the draft, and I remember him talking about how more involved he was with the draft. He actually went out to Oregon and had a private meeting with Christian Gonzalez before the draft that nobody knew about, and those types of things. And just listening to him talk about the college game, like he recognizes, I think, where the winds are blowing in football. That football is now about speed, it's about space, it's about scheming guys into space. Like, even though he's a defensive-minded head coach, I think that he would still have that gene to be innovative on the offensive side of the ball and to recognize that. So maybe Josh isn't the right guy for him to be the coordinator, but the only reason why I came up with Josh was just because he's not going anywhere. If you hire the next,
Josh is definitely a candidate.
If you hire the next Brian Dable or something like that in a year or two, he's just going to get a head coaching job, and then where are you going to be?
So look at it this way too, okay? So like this is why you can't dismiss Josh and stuff like this. Gerard Mayo has been an NFL coach since I think 19.
Yeah, 5 years.
I know.
So what does he have to fall back on to put a staff together if everybody goes?
Right, he's got.
Right, and then Josh comes back with Brasillo, with Mick Lombardi.
Maybe that's a way to get a staff sort of compiled, but I don't think it's ideal. And it's not anti-Josh, because you all know I like Josh a lot. I just feel like it might be time for a fresh offense too. Like, just in general, let's just do things differently and understand.
But that also means a fresh quarterback too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't think that is that.
No,
that's.
I agree with you.
I thought that was like in the given column. The two column deductive proofs and
my son's doing geometry. I had to help him the other night.
Given. Yep. New quarterback. I thought that was.
I am 100% with you with the new offense, and I would love to see them do it. It has to be the head coach then, because the guy's just going to leave, and you're going to be in the same situation that you were with Mac, where you have no offensive coordinator, and. So then if it is the head coach, then that's all well and good. If I'm the Crafts, if they hire, let's just use Ben Johnson because that's the name everybody wants to talk about. They hire Ben Johnson. I'm going to Gerard Mayo and I'm saying, we didn't forget about you. We're going to make you defensive coordinator and we're going to pay you like a defensive coordinator, and it's going to be your show on that side of the ball. I want Gerard Mayo here to run the defense because I think the defense is still a really good defensive system, and I don't want to uproot the defensive system and change it completely.
I like that too. I like keeping him around. You get a new coach, new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, it's not easy, and no. I'm not like it probably sounds like I'm being critical of some of the suggestions, and I don't mean to be. It's not an easy situation that the Crafts are going to be in. I do think it's hard to take 20 plus years of something that works so well and then have to figure out, do I tweak it? Do I change it? Do I blow it up and start all over?
What pieces do I keep?
It's not easy to figure out exactly what the course of action.
What are the important pieces to keep?
That would be best.
Yeah. I would also just love if I was the Crafts and if Macro was like seriously in consideration to stick around as GM, director of player personnel. You got to call him into the office and be like, all right, show me your draft.
Right.
Like, what in 2022, what would you have done?
Give me your plan. How are you going to fix this?
Right. Because if 2022 he said, I would have taken Cole Strange, then I'm out. Right. Like, you have to prove to me that was actually Bill.
I wonder if that conversation hasn't already taken place. Because if you're the Crafts, aren't you like curious as hell to have known who wanted who the last 4 years?
Who ordered the code red?
Especially especially that 2020 tour. I mean, that one has been we talked about.
No, we take him down to his dark place.
Oh no!
Thank you.
Please don't go there.
Every time I go to that like Pro Football
Be
Reference
happy.
where it's Patriots draft history,
Be happy.
and they have like the weighted averages of like their career. Like that's like gosh.
He's in a sunk place again.
We
tried.
On Pro Football Reference.
We tried to pull him out.
Got to draft good.
He's surfing those sites again.
Yeah, I mean it's a fascinating conversation, and I imagine a lot of people are like, I can't believe you're having this conversation. It's
a bye week.
It is what it is.
I mean, they're 2-8 guys.
Yeah, it's
is
out
what it
there,
is.
and I think it's appropriate to be just speculating. I mean, and that's all we're doing, by the way.
Yeah,
we're just speculating. We don't have any inside information. I say that before when we get into these topics. We're just going by what everybody knows. We have nothing inside. Anyway, but we do have Paul's lunch, so we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after that.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
iPhone 15 Pro on Verizon.
This holiday, trade in any iPhone in any condition for the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All on us with Unlimited Ultimate. Go to your local Verizon store now. 6 months of Apple One, then $10 per month. $999.99 device payment or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on Unlimited Ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR. Apple TV 4K and Apple One offers require eligible phone purchase with activation on Unlimited Ultimate. Additional terms and conditions apply. Visit Verizon.com for details.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no.
Replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
iPhone 15 Pro on Verizon.
This holiday, trade in any iPhone in any condition for the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All on us with Unlimited Ultimate. Go to your local Verizon store now. 6 months of Apple One, then $10 per month. $999.99 device payment or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on Unlimited Ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR. Apple TV 4K and Apple One offers require eligible phone purchase with activation on Unlimited Ultimate. Additional terms and conditions apply. Visit Verizon.com for details.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no.
Replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
iPhone 15 Pro on Verizon.
This holiday, trade in any iPhone in any condition for the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All on us with Unlimited Ultimate. Go to your local Verizon store now. 6 months of Apple One, then $10 per month. $999.99 device payment or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on Unlimited Ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR. Apple TV 4K and Apple One offers require eligible phone purchase with activation on Unlimited Ultimate. Additional terms and conditions apply. Visit Verizon.com for details.
What's up, everybody? Patriots special team captain Matthew Slater addressed the media yesterday. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Probably do a lot of self-scout, try to get myself physically as ready as I can to finish the season strong.
Do you approach it like a time to get away, or is it like staying here and...
Oh, no. With 4 kids and 2 of them in school, there is no time to get away, so, yeah.
Do you feel like the bye week is coming at a good time for you guys, given, you guys are 2-8, can refresh and refocus right now?
I think it's a good time for a lot of reasons. What you mentioned, and I just think, we've played a lot of football, and guys are certainly feeling it. So it's good physically, it's good mentally, with the way things have gone this year. So hopefully we can make the most of it.
What gives you the confidence that you guys can come back, stronger and, finish out the season strong?
Yeah, faith. If you don't have faith in what you're doing, why are you coming in here every day? And for me, I still have faith in the people in this building, our process, the people leading us. I have faith in a lot of things. So sometimes you have to have faith even when you haven't seen the results that you would have liked. But that's life, right? So it's just part of it.
What's your advice, fellow captain, team leader, to a guy like Mac going through what he's going through right now? The questions of whether or not he's even going to be the...
Just remain as positive as possible and ignore the voices and opinions that are not going to impact your day-to-day living. Because Lord knows there are a lot of them out there, but most of them don't really matter. So be positive. Continue to stay true to yourself, your process. And that goes for all of us, not just him.
Is it hard, Matthew, when you have something like happen Germany, where you come home and just everyone's talking about the quarterback. As one of your leaders, what kind of thoughts do you have on that? And is it one of those things, like you said, where you just tell everybody to kind of just keep going?
Yeah. Well, look, I've never been the quarterback, so I don't want to speak for him. I can see and understand how that would be very challenging, especially with the way things have gone this year for our football team. So, again, I think as much as you can, you have to limit those voices and, continue to take advantage of the opportunities that lie ahead of you. Live your professional experience with a lot of gratitude, and that should be the foundation from which we're all working is gratitude. We have a great opportunity to play a game we love, so never lose sight of that. And, it's challenging, I'm sure. It's challenging for all of us, but, just got to keep going.
Well, speaking of opportunity, how much did you kind of reset and then you got 7 games to kind of make a season, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, that's the exciting thing. You hope you can change the narrative of our story and how that story ends. And, we have a say in that, which is a beautiful thing. So hopefully we can do the things that we need to do to start getting some of the outcomes we'd like to see. And, you never know what can happen. So we just got, like I said earlier, we just got to keep the faith, keep going.
Addy, is it important to you guys as a team to know who your quarterback will be moving forward?
I can't speak for the team. But it's not important for me. I just come here and do my job, keep my head down, and those are decisions that I'm not involved in, and they don't impact what I have to do personally.
Matthew, have you picked up any new leadership skills dealing with a year like this? Is there anything in the box that you learned?
Picked up a lot. I think eventually I'll look back upon this season and be grateful for it. I've said it several times throughout the course of the season, but it's easy to be a front runner and lead when things are going well, and to encourage and build up and lift up and work hard when things are going well. But when they're not, I think it really tests your character and it tests your conviction. And I think the things that I say I believe in and want to live out, they've been challenging to do this year. Staying positive, continuing to encourage. But I'm learning what that looks like under these types of circumstances, and I think it's going to serve me well, in the future as a husband, as a father, because that's how life is, right? Nobody's life goes exactly how they envision it. They're twists and turns, so it's been good.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no.
Replacements were shipped with FedEx, and with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
iPhone 15 Pro on Verizon.
This holiday, trade in any iPhone in any condition for the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All on us with Unlimited Ultimate. Go to your local Verizon store now. 6 months of Apple One, then $10 per month. $999.99 device payment or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on Unlimited Ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR. Apple TV 4K and Apple One offers require eligible phone purchase with activation on Unlimited Ultimate. Additional terms and conditions apply. Visit Verizon.com for details.
And now, great moments in history.
Maybe I'm overthinking.
That's going around too.
What picture he posted?
Subterfuge.
Where did he post?
He posted a picture and it was him like smiling, and if you look close, he was at Gillette Stadium.
Who was this?
Brady.
The picture he posted was him from the Tampa game.
I didn't look at the thing.
I know you didn't.
Yeah.
I
That's
printed
why
out
I was asking some.
It was on part of this thing.
You printed it.
I printed it out in case we were going to reference
it. Kills more trees than anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Will you file that?
Fred,
we're just talking about how when we're doing the show, we should reference.
Be like a normal man and look it on your phone.
I have it right here.
Just look on your phone.
I want the sound.
The
radio.
The animals need the trees, Eric.
It's up early.
Think about that.
Trees.
My second question is whether you guys think.
I hate you all.
That's another great moment from
All right, back here on Patriots Unfiltered, we're joined by Alex Francisco because it's Picks Day. How you doing, Alex?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Good, not great.
Okay.
She's here early.
Honest.
I don't know about early. I'm like 2.5 hours of traffic.
We need
Where are you coming from?
West Springfield?
Springfield.
Oh,
What's going on over there?
The girl,
Ask-
she's
What
stressed.
would that normally be, like 2 hours?
Something's going on in Worcester.
The
on
Big
the
E?
Pike.
Is the Big E happening?
If you
Basketball Hall of Fame.
if you told me there was a 10-car
Flags.
pileup on the Mass Pike today, I would believe you with what the traffic looked
Really?
like. Yeah.
Where's
These-
everybody going?
I hope
have
everybody.
no
There's
clue.
demonstrators
Go home.
blocking the bridge for calling for a ceasefire.
Oh.
The BU bridge, right?
Yeah, but that's not
But
affecting
in
her.
Worcester,
Yeah.
though?
Yeah.
Would
It's
that
not
be
in Central Mass,
backed up to
man.
Worcester?
That's
I
that's
don't
my
know.
alma mater.
It's
The
a
first thing that
mess.
popped up when I googled
Mass
it.
DOT, if you're listening. Get
First
it
thing I
together.
thought is I wouldn't have been able to go to class because that was the bridge I had to get to class over.
Feels like you pull those days like once every 2 months. All of a sudden, it's just a log jam on
Well,
Mass.
Yeah.
next week should be better because everybody's off for Thanksgiving.
Once
except
almost
us.
every month, Deuce gets a text.
Yeah.
Hey, Deuce, I'm turning
My
around.
ETA is 3 hours from now.
And I'm an hour in.
I think I have a bad commute. You need to move closer. kid.
I know. Well, you guys, you should have a
Telling me.
commute off. Paul and Alex, you
Mine's
guys.
nothing compared
So I'm
to
going to put you on the spot,
Mine's
a little,
like-
Alex.
like Evans.
In the
We're
first
similar.
half of the
Yeah.
show, we did some mid-season awards. I don't want to
Okay.
go through every category, but give
Couple of
me
them.
your best play
Best
of-
play
so far.
It might be one of them during the Eagles game, but I think just the implications of Jasicki's game winner against the Bills.
That was
like
mine,
The
yeah.
spot that was
Yeah.
in, I would say that one.
Okay, and
good.
give me your biggest surprise player, not including Demario Douglas, and your biggest disappointment.
Okay. Maybe this is recency bias because Tavai, I think,
Okay.
has been
Yeah, he was
playing
mentioned.
pretty
So
well,
good.
like
Yeah.
stringing some really good games together.
Yep.
I like these answers.
Despite all this
Yeah.
craziness.
Yeah.
So he
all
stood
the
out
men
to me.
mansplaining football, nodding in approval. Yes, good,
And then
good,
most,
Alex.
most
Good.
disappointing. I mean, Juju, I would say.
Another one that was
Good,
mentioned.
good.
Yeah, good job,
I don't
Alex.
know how you don't
nailed
say
it.
that.
You're nailing it.
Good
Gotta
stuff.
be among them.
Yeah, so we did that.
Okay, I got one more.
Yeah.
Oh,
How much did the Celtics miss Marcus Smart at 9-2?
0.
Not at all.
Not at all.
0.
Yeah.
I like
Marcus
this guy.
Smart person.
What is it? Giroux?
I
How
am
they
a
say
big
Giroux?
It's
Holiday?
It's just
It's
Drew.
Drew.
It's just Drew.
Unless you're, well, never mind.
Giroux.
Listen, I loved Marcus, but I mean,
We haven't had. We haven't
once
had a
they
chance.
added
I took a
Porzingis,
shot.
what am
we
I
haven't-
supposed to do?
We haven't had a chance to talk any Celtics really because we've
Well,
been
this
not-
is the
so-
Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever Celtics.com?
I mean, we,
Horford had me fired up.
we have to
so
talk about
that's
a
all-
good team in
all I'll
town.
say
So
is
we talk
Horford
about the
had me
Celtics.
fired up yesterday.
Evan's going to start a new podcast, Catch 10. He's going to have the
Anything
all
but
10
this.
view of basketball. He's going to start a new thing.
That actually does exist.
Does it?
It does.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
It's called
It's a
sitting in
small
the
court.
banners.
What do you need that view for?
called Zach Lowe.
Don't ask me. I don't know.
They're all in the bunch. You
That's
know?
been really trendy on Twitter, though, amongst like sports social media teams. Have you guys seen all the
Oh, yeah.
all
the
the
hockey
clips
team's doing it. The single
highlighting of
cam.
just that bird's eye view?
We're going to have that too.
It looks awesome.
From the lighthouse.
Ooh,
Yeah.
how about that?
We need somebody to highlight.
That'll be
though.
rad.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the phones.
Did you bring this up to Maz about his little?
Yeah, because he
all
put another one
22?
out. He put another one out yesterday.
No, I forgot.
I
meant
have.
to.
Me and him.
I did
me
mean
and
to
him
do
have
that.
beef now.
He's starting to do
Yeah,
it. He's
beef.
starting to infringe upon Evan's turf.
You need to get off of film Twitter. Go back to complaining about.
How did he
things.
get the
Thank
one?
you.
He was highlighting windows. He was highlighting open receivers.
Somebody-
He's a gadget guy.
Oh yeah.
Somebody
He's a gadget
clearly does the editing for him. Some intern was like, "I'll do it, Tony." Like,
Let's get to the phones. We
You
got to
know,
hurry
from
because
here.
it's Picks Day. Eldridge is in North Carolina. What's up, Eldridge?
Hey, fellas, how you doing, lady? Y'all doing all right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey fella.
Yeah. Paul, Evan, I agree with y'all 100%. Complete duo. I don't want Mayo as the head coach
Well,
or
you're gonna
Josh
get it.
Daniel come in. Get a new quarterback and get a new offensive coordinator like Ben Johnson or Benry or whoever. You know, if you had to go to a college coach, get them too. Just rebuild it over and just start from there. Because it's still going to take you another 5 years, so you might as well just do it.
Okay. Well,
Do it right the first time.
Yeah.
complete redo.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't think it has to take that long, though. I think if you do it well, get some,
Thanks, Eldridge.
some smart picks and some good fortune, I think you can turn it around
Do you guys
quick.
know the story of how Robert found Pete Carroll? Like, how did that come about?
They were looking at a lot of people, and they talked to Bill Walsh, and Bill Walsh was a big advocate, and I think they listened to Bill Walsh.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
just learned something.
There you
Yeah.
go.
so
I never heard that story.
Tom Pelissero does that annual list of like rising head coaching
There are like
candidates.
3 Patriots coaches on that list.
So he did it. It came out yesterday. So here are some of the offensive names because we're all on the offense. Thomas Brown from the Panthers, who's been on this list before. I think I'm not sure if I'm hiring head offensive coaches from the Panthers.
Plus, isn't he a guy that they've gone back and forth with Reich, who's calling the plays, and now it's back to Reich?
Yep. This is a good one though. Brian Callahan from the Cincinnati Bengals.
Good offensive line guy, right?
Yeah, who I think deserves a lot of credit for their offense is on this list. Luke Getsy with the Bears, which I think is hilarious. Wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Ben Johnson from the Lions, obviously.
There he is.
Brian Johnson from the Eagles, quarterbacks guy from the Eagles.
There's a lot of basic name guys on this list, like John Callahan,
Mike Kafka from the Giants.
There you go.
So William Smith,
our very own Megan O'Brien,
MOB man,
has been texting me a little bit about Kafka. She, went to school with him, and she's very high on Mike Kafka.
Yep.
WWE's Mike Morant.
We'll scroll past Gerard Mayo on the list. Kellen Moore from the Chargers.
Yeah, I was wondering about Belichick if he, like that whole Chargers thing, like where Kellen Moore would fit in.
So this is an interesting one too. Drew Petzing from the Cardinals offensive coordinator, who has somehow made that offense
from Wellesley.
Right, we did this.
He's Paul's
my guy.
That's your guy.
Somehow made that offense relevant.
Now he's got Kyler back.
Here's
stock rising.
So here's another really big name that a lot of people are starting to pay attention to now. Bobby Slowak from the Texans, the offensive coordinator from the Texans, who obviously has C.J. Stroud playing.
And I saw something on the Twitter machine yesterday that had that old Washington coaching staff, and it was Shanahan, Mike McDaniel.
Oh yeah.
There was someone else,
McVay,
and Bobby Slowik. They were all on the staff together.
Yeah. Matt, what's his face? LaFleur.
So
tight pants, young guy in tight pants, like Felger says. That's what you're looking for.
So that's Bobby Slowik.
Oh yeah, he fits.
It's just so funny though that we're so
Alex is just shaking
head coach starved that an offensive coordinator has some success, and all of a sudden he should be a head coach.
Yeah,
it's a totally different job.
So
it doesn't mean it's going to be a success.
No, I know, but
that's how it works. You're a coordinator, you have success,
I know.
and you become a head coach.
So Frank Smith from the Dolphins, he's the Dolphins offensive
Another one that would
coordinator.
fall into your category. Frank Smith,
under
Ben
Mike
Johnson, Brian Johnson, Brian Callahan.
I think you guys will know this guy. Press Taylor from the Jaguars, offensive coordinator for the Jaguars. And the last one here I think is also interesting because I believe he was here for a minute. Shane Waldron from the Seattle.
Shane for more than a minute.
Yes.
Yeah, he was
so those are the offensive coaches on that list. But obviously we know Ben Johnson. Brian and Callahan from the Bengals I think is interesting. And Slowik I think is really interesting.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting because all those guys would be first-time head coaches, and the two guys that the Crafts have hired are both second-time coaches.
Yeah,
correct.
True.
Where was Pete before this?
Jets.
Really?
Let them make their mistakes somewhere else and then hire them. It could be a philosophy.
Yeah, they were 10-1 in '94 and finished 10-6 and missed the playoffs, I believe. Or if they made the playoffs, they got knocked out right away. But they were 10-1.
One of the only reasons I remember I had his football card. Like I just remember it.
Pete Carroll.
It's one of my remember seeing him in a Jets uniform.
Let's go to John in L.A. on the Ace Ticket Hotline.
Oh, Johnny.
What's up, John?
Hey, John.
Johnny.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
How you hanging in, man?
So I've been thinking it's way past time to start collecting talent. I know that phrase from early in the dynasty, and that's great. But I think we can all agree it's time to collect talent. And I keep thinking about these. It's like what you guys were just talking about before Paul had to eat. Is that like not?
I expect more from you, John.
Not being like, oh, this guy was available, but actually like these are the guys that like PU writers thought that's probably who we could take. That's the Patriots guy in the first couple of rounds, and combining that, the core could be Debo, George Pickens, Keith Jacoby, Devin Lloyd, Jawan Bentley, Christian Moore, Keon White, Kyle Duggar, Christian Gonzalez, Jonathan Jones, Mike Owenu. I mean, this is not like pie in the sky. This is like easily what it could have been if Robert Kraft had said, you know what, let's not have a scouting department. Let's literally just go with what the mock draft websites say. And I think
that's because we're all geniuses. We're all smarter than everybody else. That's
I'm
what
wondering
you're saying,
if you guys
right?
think that's a good. I mean, obviously that's a better core, but is that a good enough core? If you get the quarterback, which obviously is a huge if.
I mean, I'd have to look at the whole core.
Totality.
It just sounded like a bunch of names. I don't.
No, I think
haven't
they're all good
processed it.
players, but I think mixed in there, you need a couple difference makers. You know, I think
Debo Samuel.
But I think what
generally
his general
difference
point,
maker.
though, I actually kind of agree with, which I think is what his general point is
Yeah,
that
I would too.
sometimes, and it's not about us being
That
smarter
you
than
could
the teams.
outdraft Bill
No,
Belichick?
yeah, I knew you were going to say that. No.
If he didn't say it, you knew I was going to say it.
But my point is that sometimes I think that teams outsmart themselves and just what the like Christian Gonzalez, even though he got hurt, Christian Gonzalez was a consensus top 20 first round pick type of guy, and it's not a mistake that when he got on the field with the Patriots that he looked like he belonged in the NFL right away. And sometimes when you go into the draft and you take your Cole Stranges and you take these guys off the beaten path, and that there's a reason why nobody had Cole Strange in the first round. And that I think
We're
that there's
seeing it on the field.
Sometimes it's, especially in the first round, to just go with one of the like consensus top guys. Like, don't forget about the mock drafts. Like, just even in the league, like around your peers. And you don't have the Rams laughing at you on draft night about drafting a guy three
that
rounds
really
too
hurt
early.
my feelings.
Did it?
Yeah.
They were so
laughing at us.
I don't really think it did.
They were laughing at us. They're just laughing.
All right, John.
they're
Thanks.
also kinda drunk.
Thanks for the call. Let's go to Dan in Florida.
Definitely.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, Dan.
Hey, so I just want to give you guys my take on the staff in regards to what you guys were talking about earlier. I think the most appealing and ideal staff going forward would be to clean house in the front office, bring in Adam Peters. He's very successful with the 49ers. Obviously, as you've seen, the 49ers have put together a stellar roster. I think Mayo should stay, but I don't think he should stay as the head coach. He should definitely stay as the DC. I think that would be great. You bring in Ben Johnson, who I think is one of the top offensive minds out there. And then you have to fire Joe Judge and Cam McCord because they spend so much money on special teams, and the special teams looks like a giant disaster. It looks like a dumpster fire. So those two got to be out, and they got to find somebody that can replace the special teams. But I think that's the most ideal staff to bring in if Robert Kraft is very adamant about going back to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
That's realistically the.
I hope
All right.
he is.
Thanks for the call. Trent writes in. He says, I'm disgusted with my fellow Patriots fans, and that's in quotes. Bill is the right man to lead the organization through a rebuild. He's done it twice already in 2000 and 2010. Mac is clearly not the guy, so wouldn't firing Bill be like cutting off your nose to spite your face? Why fire a proven coach just to hire someone new? What if they draft a true starting quarterback, but the quarterback is paired with a coach who isn't a fit to carry Bill's rings? Then we are back at square one again. Firing Bill now would be like firing him after the 2009 season. He lost the team, can't reach the young guys anymore, etc. But the Kraft stuck with him, and he brought 3 more championships home. Evan, you are wrong more than anybody. Yesterday, you finally admitted the 22 draft class is a bust, and you even said we all knew it was going to be a bust from the start. When the draft was fresh, nobody was pounding the table for Matt Groh harder than you. Evan also said tons of teams have traded up to the number 1 draft spot without tanking or selling the farm. Okay, name 3.
The Carolina Panthers last year traded up from 8 to 1. Also, if you really want to know my thoughts on the 2022 draft class, I believe my reaction to the Cole Strange pick still lives on Clintus's YouTube. So why don't you go look at that and maybe revisit your entire email? Thank you.
Poor Cole.
Yeah.
Well,
but I'm wrong more than anybody.
Right.
So, first of all, we're comparing the rebuild from going 10-6 and losing in the playoffs to being 2-8. That's the same thing.
Also,
like he did it before.
But
also,
I'm wrong more than
as
anybody.
long as Tom Brady was still on that team, there was no rebuild.
Well, that's the other thing, and I totally recognize that there's a line of demarcation where they had to sort of reset a little bit, and they did have a dip in 2009, 10.
Yeah.
You know,
and then they made the Super Bowl in 11.
Yeah, in 10 they went 14-2, but they just weren't weren't that good, and that was proven out when they got knocked out of the playoffs.
That's
but
the worst 14-2 ever, right?
Yeah, and
right, Deuce?
that's something that like Brady would say.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he probably would have said that like 10 years later when he actually did say it when they were 8-0. I just don't think that that's the same as bottoming out rebuild when, okay, we're not quite as great as we used to be. We're just really good now. We're not great. That's not the same as what they're doing now.
Yeah, and I think even in 2001, the rebuild, like, they were surprised that they had success like they did.
And can I give you like my number one reason why I disagree with that? You're comparing him rebuilding when he was like 50 as opposed to 72.
Right.
Like, it's a big difference.
It is.
I know it makes me sound like an ageist, and I shouldn't be throwing those kinds of stones since I'm old, but I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of faith in a 72-year-old guy being able to turn it around.
That's a good point. Jared in Rhode Island says, I don't understand the conclusion that Mayo is going to be the de facto head coach if Bill leaves. I'm not familiar with
de facto.
I'm not familiar with teams that usually fire the head coach and replace him with an underling. Why is there so much confidence that the logical replacement for Bill is Gerard? Love the show. Thank you guys for being the one redeeming quality of the 2023 season.
I didn't say it was logical.
No, Kraft's comments last year at the owner meeting was, talking about Gerard. I mean,
we think it's kind of a done. I mean, might be a done deal.
What are they grooming him for then? Like, what was all that like? Reaching out to try to keep him here, and I mean, we haven't really seen a noticeable change on the outside so far. It seems exactly like it's been for Gerard Mayo. But there was a lot of talk last offseason. I just think you read what the Crafts have been saying over the last couple of years and what they've done to retain Gerard Mayo, it would seem like they have some plans for him. Yeah. Maybe it's just defensive coordinator, which I would probably prefer. But I think, I think he's a good guy. I think he has the right temperament to, everyone just assumes the next head coach is going to be the one to take you back to the promised land. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. You might just need a guy who rights the ship, who starts to draft some talent, who starts to build a new core. And then, unfortunately, maybe that guy has a little bit of a stumble, and then you bring the new guy in, and then, all right, the pieces are in place, and now we're going to the next level.
Yeah, I also just think it's easy for us to sit here and say just completely wipe out the last 25 years of what's been successful and start completely anew with a new offense and a whole new philosophy, which is probably what this team needs to an extent. But I do feel like Gerard Mayo is kind of like middling it a little bit, where he is a younger guy. He is maybe a little bit more savvy with the times, but it's still got some Belichick Patriot dynasty mystique.
Yeah, we should probably note this show because I feel like if this were to happen, I think you get, like Evan's saying, we have our thoughts out there already now on how we feel about it.
Yeah, I'm not ever really a fan of that.
You don't like receipts?
Nope.
Mike's in New York. What's up, Mike?
CVS receipts over there.
Yes.
Oh.
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sounds like you're in a bayou.
Are you conducting, a traffic cop, or what are you doing out there?
I'm right by a traffic cop in New York.
Okay.
Oh, that's not a bayou.
So, quick question. Do you guys think that Belichick is going to leave after this year? What's the probability?
We think it's going to happen.
Pretty
yes.
good. I think it's pretty good.
All right. The reason I asked is because that would be 1 year after Brady retired, and Kraft bet on Belichick. It was a bad bet because Brady played for three more years and won the Super Bowl. I think it was a bad bet. What do you guys think?
I don't think it was a bad bet. I think it was a bad result.
Yeah, I think. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
thanks, Mike.
I think he's absolutely right. They bet on Belichick being around longer than Brady and more effective than Brady.
Yep.
They were wrong. I don't think it's like a. I look back at it with 20/20 hindsight. I don't think it was a dumb move. I think you logically look at a guy in his early 40s playing quarterback. How many years is he going to continue to play at a Super Bowl level? And the coach had shown no signs of slowing down. Like, they gambled on the coach. I would say that they lost.
Yeah,
they lost the gamble, but I don't think it was a bad one.
Isn't it easier to just replace the quarterback than to tear down the entire organization?
Theoretically, yes. Yeah. Theoretically, yes. Whatever. Yeah, that's
whatever.
I know.
Just whatever.
We all wish
resignation to that side.
No, I just look at the Tom Brady years with such fondness and just wish he could.
Well, most of us do, Fred.
Retired a Patriot.
Except one person here.
Yeah.
It's like you bring up a draft or something.
I think the one thing that all this has shown us is the value of Tom Brady.
Oh, and how special that whole run was. I mean,
his legend only grew as a result of this.
Yeah. I mean, just how hard it is. I mean, even just watching other teams right now, trying to get to that level of success. It's
the Buffalo Bills.
Unreal.
Alex, let me ask you this. What did you think when Brady left? Like, what were your thoughts?
Devastation, one. But I like everyone was like, okay, we still have the greatest head coach of all time. And I thought that Brady might go win, but I think he'll eventually see maybe the grass isn't always greener. It's really hard to sustain success, which I think he maybe did see after winning the Super Bowl with the Bucs and not going right back to the Super Bowl. But I still never anticipated. I mean, this season is just absolutely inconceivable to me.
Right.
Going back to me on March 17th, 2020, the day Brady left, if you told me we would be right
had the date right off the top of her head.
That was
if
impressive.
you told me that
I
we
ripped
would
my
be
poster
here
down off my wall.
2-7, like I don't know. I tried to be as hopeful. Yeah, you're right. I
But
tried to be as hopeful as I could all season.
there
but
were
the
some
last couple weeks just.
There were some listeners to this show that did think we were going to completely fall off the cliff when Brady left. And, you know, I argue, like, why does it have to be the case? We know it's not going to be as good, but why do we have to just
I was with you.
Terrible.
But it didn't completely fall off a cliff immediately.
It didn't right away.
It was a slow
But it was
burn.
coming. It was a slow burn.
That's why
It was
it's so
coming.
crazy to me that we're even having this conversation all on really, like, it seems the general consensus that Bill Belichick's going to be gone next year.
I do like it. I am obviously very much out on Bill, but in his one defense, I think this season probably would have looked a lot like last year if everybody had stayed healthy. Where it still wouldn't have been good enough.
They would have beaten the backups.
But they would.
Yeah. See that.
They would have beaten Gardner
But
Minshew.
I'm just saying, like, it still wouldn't have been good enough. Yeah. But they probably would have stumbled to like 7 or 8 wins and maybe been in it until late December, early January.
If they stayed completely healthy and all the other teams got all the injuries that they got, then I would agree with you.
So, but like if they, I'm not saying.
I'm sorry. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't get hurt, they'd be 1-9.
Right, but I'm not saying completely healthy. I'm just saying you don't lose your 2 best players on your roster. Like there's a difference between being completely healthy and losing Matthew
how's that
Judon
going to
and
help
Christian
you with
Gonzalez.
score points?
Yeah, you don't have to score as many.
I just find it hard to
I get what
believe.
he's saying.
You only
though,
had to
like,
score 11 last
those
week.
were
Right, but-
really devastating injuries to the defense.
But
and
who
as
didn't
we're
have
seeing
those?
is defense is like really all we have to hang our
Like,
hat on this year.
you know, would you allow Buffalo to say if we don't lose, you know, Milano and Trey White, we don't lose that game to the Patriots?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying.
But I'm sure you wouldn't.
I'm just saying. So last year, and Fred, to your point, last year the defense literally scored points for the offense.
But that's right. You cannot rely
can't count
on that.
But I can count on the defense making plays to put the offense on short fields. Like that should happen consistently.
I don't think you can rely on turnovers consistently. I think they're very much an unknown variable.
Well,
I think they vary from year to year. I always look at the teams when you go into the playoffs, the teams that have had great plus minus, you know, with the turnovers, and not just that, but like Evan said, with the scoring. And I bet against those teams in the playoffs because I feel like when you do that, and that's how you got 13-3 or whatever.
2010.
All it takes is one game in the playoffs where you don't get it and you lose.
2010 Patriots.
And when Paul says he bets against them, he just means
it's metaphorical.
But my point was like Alex was just saying that you couldn't imagine 2-8, and neither could have I. I couldn't have either because I thought that at the very worst they would just
I'm starting to think I am negative. And I don't ever think of that.
But even you, Paul,
I don't think of that.
Wow.
But you said
really
7
big of
wins
you.
was their ceiling, right?
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily disagree with that. They're not gonna get to 7 wins.
But
like,
what's
they're
their
not gonna
ceiling if everything fell in place? In other words, if they stayed healthy, everything fell in place.
Right,
like,
but they're not
everything
even
was
gonna be
perfect.
close.
The other teams got hurt and you didn't. Like maybe you could win 7 games. That's how I felt about this team.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. If they're 2-8, Paul, like they're
Like,
gonna,
I thought they would
if they
lose to
win
the
4
Jets.
games, that's gonna be a lot.
I didn't think the offense could get worse than last
I didn't
year.
think that I would
That's
co-sign on that.
But that's my.
I didn't think the offense could be worse than it was.
That's
and it
my
is.
question. Is just I think we all kind of agreed that like 6. I feel like we said a lot. Six wins feels like the floor for this team. Like he's too good a coach to not get them 6 wins.
Yeah.
Why aren't we to 6 wins this year? You know.
Yeah, I would have said.
I'm not ruling it out.
It's like, see, I would.
It's in the
See,
mix.
I'm
It's in play.
I know you think I'm probably lying, but I'm not either, Fred, because I think there's some teams that they could beat. Just like the last couple of games they played, they could have won.
Oh, that would be a big mistake.
No, I understand that. That's a different argument. But like, I look at the 10 games they've played. If you would ask me before, and I do this all the time, I told you who was the team they played before? The Saints, the Raiders, the Commanders, and the Colts. Heading into the season, I would have said you'll go 2-2 in those 4 games.
Right.
They went 0-4. However,
They beat the Bills.
I would have said the Bills is a loss and the Jets is a loss until Aaron Rodgers got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of had them at 2-8 ish. Now, where it's way different than I thought is what Alex said. I didn't think it would look like this.
Right.
I didn't think Mac would look like this, even though I'm not a big believer in Mac. I didn't think he was capable of throwing interceptions like he did on Sunday.
Yeah, Germany was just nailing coffin.
Yeah.
for
I
me
guess that's maybe
personally.
more my
So
point.
maybe
than
that's
than
we're probably more similar
All right.
than
the
I thought.
wins.
It's
Yeah.
that time of the week when we got to hurry. Paul, what happened last
Getting
week?
angry. So, not surprisingly,
picks.
when trying to make picks in the midst
in
of
the
a
club.
discotheque, it didn't go great for really anybody.
Really, why?
So Paul and Fred showed their veteran savvy. You know, they fought through it.
Meaning you're old.
Wow.
They
Playing
wait.
through adversity.
Paul and Fred 8-6.
Yeah.
Best of the week.
Yeesh.
Evan 7-7. Good job.
Wow.
Perfectly mediocre.
500.
Mike and
about
Alex 6-8. That's with the regular games,
not
by
terrible.
the way.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Paul and Fred also 7-5-2.
Oh, winning. Making
with,
money.
with the
Barely.
number. Evan 6-6-2.
I'll take it.
Alex 3-9-2.
Oh, give it to me. Give it to me.
You're worse than 3-9.
And Mike
What? 1?
1-11-2.
Oh my God.
Wow,
What
you
a
got to
mess.
try to be
All
that.
right.
Fred, the records only go back so far because basically the records are only in my head, as you know. I do not recall a week that bad. A one-win week.
All right. I
It looks
like
like
it.
no one
Congratulations,
from the
Mike.
Patriots came to play internationally.
So,
good.
Wow.
here we are. The standings are as follows.
Burn the
Alex
tape. Burn
Alex
the tape.
maintains her lead.
Somehow.
Despite a tough commute here, she wasn't able to get as dolled up as she normally does when she comes in.
You guys make
With her
me
crown.
sound so much
With her
more
crown.
high maintenance than I am.
96-54 for Alex. Paul 92-58. Evan 89-61.
I'm coming back. I'm
Fred
making a comeback.
88-62. Deuce 87-63. So the battle for third place is pretty tough there. It's pretty tight. With the spread, Paul 75-68-7. Alex and Fred 72-71-7. Evan 67-76-7, and Mike after that 1-11.
That's tough.
64-79-7. 7 pushes.
It's like last year.
in 10 weeks, by the way.
Mike, you
Gonna start,
it was
gonna
terrible
start
last
adding
year.
half points to all the spreads. You got to get rid
Yeah.
of these pushes.
Yeah.
You're terrible.
All right, let's get into it because
Do you
we got to
even
hurry.
watch football?
Tonight on Prime Video, 8:15. Good game. The 5-4 Bengals are at the 7-3 Ravens. A little news.
Little
The
news.
Cincinnati Bengals social media
Oh, I saw that.
had to delete a tweet that showed Joe Burrow with something on his throwing hand.
He had a little sling,
Yeah.
a little brace or something.
Yeah, coming off the plane.
I get so frustrated with how everything we do has to go through so many approvals, but then I see something like that, and I'm like,
Good. That's
Nobody
why we
now
go
I,
to
I
approve
get
that.
it. I understand.
Right.
Baltimore by 3.5.
Should I do the George Costanza and just do the opposite of what I think on this
Every
one?
instinct?
Am I on this one yet? Well, that is information that is useful with Joe Burrow.
Useful.
And it's a tough division battle. I think, doesn't Lamar own the Bengals, I believe? I believe Lamar owns the Bengals. I'm going to go Baltimore. I'm not going to correct him. I'm going to lay the points. I'll take Baltimore at home.
I'm also going to take Baltimore at home, especially after
Now I
that
feel
deleted
reassured when
social
Alex
post.
picks what I pick.
Well, I don't know if
Like,
after
good, all right,
last
good.
week.
Yeah, nice.
I am also going to take Baltimore at home, but I think it's a 3-point game, right? You said 3.5?
Yep.
So I'm going to take the Bengals, I guess, too.
So what does that mean he's taking, Fred? 3.5 point spread. He's taking the point.
Taking the hoof.
The hook. Good. Good. Taking the hook. I like it. I am
Hoof
going to
or
take
hook?
Cincinnati outright.
Okay.
All right.
You're going to take Cincinnati outright?
Yeah, I think they need to bounce back.
Traitor.
They're. I'm sorry. I forget the rules, Fred.
Even
I'm sorry.
I picked against Joe Burrow today.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I'm going to go Ravens both ways here.
I'm a little worried about that injury that I didn't know about.
Yeah. Sunday at 1, the 6-3 Cowboys are at the 1-8 Panthers.
Dallas by 10.5.
10.5. Man, last week I laid those points, and that was stupid.
You took the points.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm going to take Dallas.
Maybe that's why you went 1-11.
Probably. I'm going to lay the points.
As will I.
I'm taking Dallas both ways.
Yeah, I just don't. Dallas is so immature. I'm tempted to take the points, but I can't do it.
That's a good insult. You guys are so immature.
I'm so mature.
Making fart noises on the field. Grow up.
I will take Dallas. I like when I make Alex crack up by singing random pop songs.
Random current pop culture.
You think there's any chance the Panthers could be a destination?
Yes.
For Billy
it's on my
Gilboa?
list.
Yeah, because
It's on
of
my list.
Tepper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think big pockets, deep pockets, I should say.
Swings
and
Breaking news, Paul Perillo reporting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Savage. I will take the Cowboys.
I will take the Cowboys as well. 1 o'clock, 6-3 Steelers are at the 6-3 Browns.
Cleveland by 1. I believe DTR will be playing quarterback for the Browns.
That is correct.
DTR.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson, for those of you who don't know.
I didn't.
Yeah,
By that I mean Fred.
And is he any good?
He's a rookie.
He's a good rookie. Man, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to take Pittsburgh on the road. Somehow they keep finding ways to win game. Actually,
I know, right?
God, it's tough because I do think Cleveland's got good D. Pittsburgh, take the upset. I'm really second guessing myself on all these.
I'm going to take the Steelers, too. That's a coin flip for me, though.
Careful,
I'll
Alex.
lay the
Don't
one
have too
single
many
point.
similar picks to me. You're going to end up in the basement.
No, we're bouncing back this week.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the Steelers. I just like them in that spot against a rookie quarterback. I think that they take care of business.
Yeah, it'd probably be a low-scoring, tight game, the way the first game was, but I will take Pittsburgh as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if Watson was playing, it's a whole different ball game, and I'd pick the Browns. But I can't see Tomlin, someone of his ilk, losing to a rookie quarterback, being thrust into the game like the way he is. So I'm going to take the Steelers. 1 o'clock, 3-7 Bears are at the 7-2 Lions. What was it? I heard college came looking for Dan Campbell to be head
Texas
coach.
A&M.
Texas
They
A&M.
came looking.
Yeah, he said no.
Yeah, so the Lions are favored by 7.5.
Lions by
I did find that interesting, though, Fred. I agree.
I will take the Lions, and I will lay the points.
Lions with the spread.
Paul, how did you remember the first Pittsburgh-Cleveland game? That's just stuck in my head right now.
It was a Sunday night game.
It's like the first one. I'm like,
Yeah, you go to bed after the first series. How do you
Doesn't mean
remember
I don't
it?
know stuff. I don't know.
I have memory.
I don't know. Like 25 years ago, Fred hired me to come and work for an NFL team, and I thought it might be a good idea to watch the NFL. I don't know. I thought that was crazy.
And then, catalog every game that's played and be able to recall it at any given moment.
I've told you
We all
a million times, if it had any value whatsoever, it wouldn't be stuck in my head.
That's right. Cleveland
got value
versus Pittsburgh.
here.
Who started for Cleveland in that game? Was that a Watson game?
Watson.
Okay.
Yeah.
We all have strengths.
I believe they had a late fumble cost Cleveland. Cleveland was winning the whole game.
I remember that
When in
entire.
doubt.
I
Oh,
barely
pick
remember the
Pittsburgh.
Patriots games.
Okay, well that's bad. I'll take the Lions both ways.
So Justin Fields back in this game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still going to take.
He's not perfect.
I'm going to take Detroit both ways.
What's the number, Paul?
7.5. I was thinking about taking the hook, but I'm not going to.
I'll do it. I'll take those points.
Fearless.
Lions win, but don't cover. 1 o'clock, the 4-5 Chargers are at the 3-6 Packers.
This could be a big week for Fred, by the way. There's no Patriots game for him automatically to give us
There you
a
go.
loss.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The Lack by 3 at Lambeau.
Ooh. It's kind of a tough one. I've kind of lost track of Green Bay. But I watched a little. Yeah, I watched a little of the Chargers. I'm gonna go quarterback. I'll take the Chargers.
Yeah, Chargers to win, Chargers to cover.
I am also gonna. I guess I'm gonna take. I don't know. Normally, I would take the Packers because of the weather and the Lambeau and the LA thing,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna take the Chargers. I just think they're a better team.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers, too. I like the way their offense looked last week. I'm sorry, you guys probably don't know. They played Detroit last week, and they lost 41-38.
Okay.
But I like the way that Herbert
Who
and
scored
the
their
offense
touchdowns?
played.
Do you know who scored all
Mostly
their
Keenan
touchdowns?
Allen.
Oh, really?
And Austin Eckler. I don't.
Yeah.
Those are a couple of obscure players, but you might want to pick them up for your fantasy
I did
teams.
see some of that game, actually.
I missed that one.
Well, at
There's
least
a good,
you guys were actually in Germany. so
There's a good.
I'm going to cut you some
There's
slack.
a good Herbert QB score.
I was watching Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine bear.
Yeah, there's only
Not
one
a lot of
answer
good
here, and that's the
entertainment
Chargers.
on that flight home.
Sunday at 1, the 2-8 Cardinals are at the 5-4 Texans.
Imagine the Texans are hosting the Cardinals with a chance to go 6-4.
Yeah.
Big game. for the
Houston by
tank.
5.
Big game.
Yeah, Kyler Murray's back, and I think I'm going to take Arizona here, bringing Houston back to earth a little bit.
Was that your heart or your head?
Neither. It's my apathy.
Big game for the tank.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I was like, what would the heart be anti-C.J. Stroud because you don't want him to be good?
Right,
But
right.
that makes sense. You're right.
There's a window in
My
here.
intuition says to pick the Cardinals upset as well, but
Deuce is losing, and you
I'm
don't want
gonna
to be
pick
tied
the
to him.
Texans to win and the Cardinals to cover.
Ooh, I hope your intuition is right.
I'm going to take the as much as I want to take the Cardinals for the tank, I am going to take the Texans both ways because I think Kyler gave them a boost last week, but I don't think it lasts.
Diminishing
Yeah.
returns.
Yeah.
I am going to roll the dice and take Houston as well. I think that they show some maturity and handle that big win and build off of it. This is one of those spots that red flag, a team
That's why I
that's
picked
probably
them.
not that good yet, and they're hosting a team that, quote unquote, they're supposed to beat. I'm going to roll the dice.
Yeah, I'd love for the Cardinals to pull this off, get that third win, but I can't do it. I got to go with the Texans. Sunday at 1, the 3-6 Titans are at the 6-3 Jaguars.
Another big one for the tank.
Yeah.
Jacks by 7.
I'm gonna.
Tennessee's nipping at our heels. Huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna take. I know. I'm gonna
You
take
telling me.
Jackson. I'm gonna take Jacksonville to win, but I'm gonna take those points. I think it'll be close.
Jacksonville, Tennessee.
Yeah, I think Jags win, Titans cover.
I'm going to take Jacksonville both ways. I think that the Titans side. Ryan Tannehill asked for his release today. What a baby.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the
Didn't
Titans
see that
are.
one.
Yeah, I'll take Jacksonville both ways too. I think they bounce back from their terrible performance against the Niners.
Oh, they lost the Niners?
Jaguars' offense
34-3.
is kind of weird this year, so I'm going to go Titans to cover, but Jaguars to win. Sunday at 1, the 5-5 Raiders are at the 6-3 Dolphins.
Miami by 13.5.
Oh boy!
Wow.
No love for
Well,
Antonio Pierce.
I really want to see the Raiders lose, but I'm gonna take the point. I'll take Miami to win, but I'm gonna take those points. I think the Raiders have shown some fight, and they'll find a way to maybe keep it a little bit close.
Yeah, I also regretted giving the favorited team points when these spreads are like this, so I'm going to pick the Dolphins to win, the Raiders to cover.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Dolphins to win, Raiders to cover. It's the two biggest spread.
Yeah, I'm going to lay the points. I'll take Miami both ways. Coming off a bye at home, I think the offense gets back.
I'm going to take the Raiders to cover in this game. Although 13.5, but it's on the road, so it's really 10.5. So, yeah, I will definitely take the Raiders to cover. Yeah. Sunday at 1, a lot of 1 o'clock games. The 2-8 Giants are at the 4-6 Commanders. Giants looking ahead, maybe?
To next offseason?
To the toilet bowl.
To the draft.
Washington by 8.5.
Yeah, I think the Giants are probably the worst team in the league right now, and I'm going to take Washington, and I will lay the points.
I hope that statement rings true and we play them. But I will also take the Commanders.
Do you?
I'm going to take the Commanders, but I think that the Giants cover for some reason because it's a division game and those games are tight.
Tommy DeVito, he's still feeling
For
it.
exactly what Evan said, I will take the points. Washington to win, I'll take the
Did you
points.
say 10.5, Paul?
8.5.
8.5.
Tommy DeVito living at home. Just
I'm going to take the
getting
Commanders both ways.
Too many chicken cutlets.
Bet you Mac Jones wishes he still lived at home.
Commanders
I'm
both
sorry,
ways.
what?
Commanders both ways.
Can't say that.
Now we move to 405. The 4-5 Buccaneers are at the 6-3 49ers.
It's just a joke, Ev. San Francisco by 12.
Ooh,
12. That's a lot of points, Jerry.
Yeah, that's
I'm going to take San Francisco, but I'm going to take those points because I think Tampa's shown a little bit of fight, a little spunk.
Niners win. I don't know. What do they know? Niners cover.
What are the Sharps now?
What do they know?
What do they know, Fred?
They know something.
I'm going to take the 49ers both ways. I just think they're a wagon.
Me too.
Yeah,
Niners.
49ers both ways. I think they had their little mid-season hiccup, and I think they're back. 425. The 4-5 Jets are at the 5-5 Bills.
Buffalo by 7.
Wow.
All right, I'm going to take Buffalo at home, but I'm going to take those points for the Jets. I'm not sure how they get them, but divisional game, Buffalo seems off. They got a new offensive coordinator. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Buffalo will win.
Unless Steph Diggs demands his release in the next
Oh, we can only hope.
I'm going to pick Buffalo.
Would you take
and give them
Stephon
the point.
Diggs?
You wouldn't.
No.
I will take the Bills, but the Jets play the Bills tough. This is one game that Josh Allen can't figure out, so I'm going to take the points for the Jets.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm really surprised that Mike didn't say the Jets own Buffalo.
They do own Buffalo.
So I'll take Buffalo to win the game, but
didn't
the
tell
way
me
they're
that.
playing, I'm not laying a touchdown for
No.
anybody. I'll take the Jets.
Information I'd appreciate.
new
before
OC.
You
I
took
make
the
my-
points. You got it. I picked it the same way I did.
Wrong.
New OC for the Bills.
Yeah.
Joe Brady just talked.
Yeah. But the Jets.
Evidently, Evan is now
Words.
moonlighting for Bills.com.
Jets play them
Matty
tough.
Glab.
We know he loves Josh Allen.
If the Bills
God,
lose
here we
this game,
go.
is McDermott's job on?
Oh,
I think it's
McDermott's job
already
is
on.
very shaky.
Yeah.
That's why he
That
does
ass getting redder and redder.
It, just like his face.
Yeah.
All right.
I will take the Bills, but not to cover. I will take the Jets to win by
die.
less than what that point spread is.
So what do you have
I
there?
mean,
There's
lose
only,
by less.
Are there only 3 4:00 games? Is that what you have?
1,
Yeah.
2, 3. That's
That
correct.
Stinks.
Yeah.
It's a terrible
Yeah,
late
that make-
afternoon
that
red
makes
zone
for a
window
bad red zone.
for our bye week.
I know,
Come
they
on.
did us dirty.
San Fran Tampa's not bad.
Oh, it's bad.
The final 4:25 game is the 6-3 Seahawks at the 3-6 Rams.
Okay, which one owns which? Because there is a
Well,
one.
yeah,
in this
somebody
one.
owns somebody.
Well, the Rams won at Seattle in week 1. I can't help myself.
Son of a.
I can't help
You know,
myself.
I think DK Metcalf caught that big third down pass across the middle that he shucked the
It
tackle.
was a really good scheme.
You know what hurt?
Red Zone has just switched off from the Buccaneers game, and they went to this one. And
What hurt me is we played at 425 that week too. So
So you
how
got
much
these ones.
attention he was
follow.
being paid to our game.
It's like a Steeler. Sorry, what was this? The spread?
1 Seattle by 1.
Seattle by 1 point.
Sharps know something.
I'm going Seattle. Yeah, I'm just gonna go Seattle.
Yeah, if Seattle lost at home the first meeting, I think they avenge themselves. Seattle.
Avenge me.
The Avengers.
I'm gonna go with the Seahawks too. I just think they're a better team. I don't know why. That's all I got.
Yeah, you're probably right, but I have this abnormal fixation that Fred makes fun of me about with Matthew Stafford, so I'll take the Rams.
Is he playing?
Yeah, I think so.
With one arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, these things are just limiting.
Seahawks are very quiet, 6-3.
Just a flesh wound.
You know,
Yeah,
you don't hear a lot about.
I got to give Pete Carroll credit. I mean,
Yeah.
we always talk about Tomlin. Somehow he finds a way to win these games. He keeps them relevant. I think Seattle kind of stinks, and they just keep winning games just like that, just
Yeah.
like Tomlin.
I'm going to go with the Seahawks, both ways. They cover the 1 point. Why is there ever a 1 point?
I know. What's the point?
Yeah. What's the point?
One.
Yeah.
That could be Fred's gambling book name.
Yeah.
What's the
What's
point?
the point?
What's the deal with 1 point spread?
What's the point? You got a better game. Point. You should have more than a point. Let's see. 8:20 on NBC. The 6-4 Vikings are visiting the 4-5 Broncos, of course.
Denver by 2.5.
This is like their 10th home game.
I know. That's
It's
every year.
unbelievable.
Every year. Every year.
They just won at Buffalo the other night.
They
Freddie.
did.
What's up with your boy Dobbs?
I'm gonna take Denver at home. They're tough there no matter what. So yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to, but I'll also take Denver at home.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It is a tough one.
I'm gonna take Denver as well. I think Denver. I don't think they're good, but I think that Russell Wilson is at least playing okay the last couple weeks.
Oh, that's nice.
And I think their defense is I mean, they were absolutely embarrassed, obviously, the first few weeks of the season, but they've played pretty well for a month. I keep waiting for this like Minnesota thing. Like, come on, they can't just keep winning games with a guy who's been there for 20 minutes, but they do.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna pick against them again. I'll take the Broncos.
I think Sean Payton's bought himself another year. You know?
Yeah, of course.
Well, when you give up that much, I think you.
Yeah, I don't think he was
I'm
going anywhere.
kind of kidding.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm going to take the Broncos to win this game at home. where else? Monday night, 8:15,
Imagine
ESPN.
Fred on Christmas Eve. Oh, big surprise. We're sitting here in Denver.
Making us go to Denver. 8:15, ESPN, ABC, ESPN2, ESPN Plus, ESPN Deportes.
ESPN Taylor Swift, too.
What about the Manning
This is a
cast?
massive game for the NFL.
Yeah.
It's a Manning cast. This is a massive
Big
game, actually.
8-1 Eagles at the 7-2 Chiefs.
The Taylor Swift Super Bowl.
Apparently, the parents are meeting.
Yeah.
On
Taylor, she's coming in
on
from
Monday
Rio.
night.
She's going to introduce you to the parents?
Taking the private plane right into Kansas City from Rio after her show.
She is
Did you ever,
hooked, huh?
did you ever have any bad experiences meeting the parents for the first time?
It's only happened a couple times. A little bit, yeah, actually. Yeah. There was something going on with the dad.
It's a little late in the show to get into this, delve into the psychology.
I also
of
met
this.
I also met one of the dads, and the dad was like, and I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And he goes, "Yeah, I bet it is." Like said something like as if there was something that had that I shouldn't have liked meeting. I don't know.
Yeah, I heard about you too. So
I mean, why would the dad be happy to meet you? Let's be honest.
I mean, come on.
I'm just being.
Well, the problem
come
is
to date my
the
daughter after you
problem
turned the
is-
puck over last night. That
The problem is when he was 15, he looked exactly like he does now. So.
That's true.
How old are you?
Anyway, Kansas City's favored by 3, and this is. Did they do something specific this year, trying to give the Monday night games a few more games like this?
This one, I don't know.
Because usually
It's
this
got
would be the
juice.
Sunday night game,
Right.
And the Minnesota-Denver would be the Monday nighter.
Well,
Maybe ESPN bitched. And
They said enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is a good matchup. Philly, Kansas City, and everybody would have thought it was a good matchup.
Yeah.
You know, back in May when they made
Super
the
Bowl
schedule.
guy.
What's the number, Paul?
3.
3.
Chiefs by 3.
I'm gonna
So you
take.
get 3, so it's a push.
I'm gonna take the Eagles. I'm gonna take the Eagles. I think they just they got a little more. They're playing better. Love Kansas City. I think they're a really good team, but I think Philly's just got a couple more pieces right now.
I'm actually taking the Eagles too. Travis Kelce on the plane back and forth to South America.
Not
I don't know
good.
how that
I
works
know.
out for him.
He's not locked in.
She's running to him like Jesus.
Oh, did you
Christ.
see
Did she
that
like wrap her
embrace?
like? Did she like wrap her
Jess
around
has
him?
never
God.
run to Evan
Was that
like
the
Thank
that.
God.
Was
so-
that the most performative?
God.
Was that the most performative thing you've ever seen? Like she just
my
wrapped
love.
herself around him. It was,
He's on
you
the
know.
Chiefs. Did you
They're
know
gonna be
that?
engaged with
Well-
in like
God.
next year, I think.
Oh, I can't wait for the album when he breaks up with her.
Oh, I
I
know.
think they're gonna get
I can't
married.
wait for the Chiefs fans who are going to like hate her forever. You know, like that's gonna start a
Well,
whole thing. I
It's
can't
like
wait.
that's what's happening to your girl
With
Josh.
oh yeah,
yeah.
they're all mad at her too.
Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah,
no,
mad at her.
they really are.
Yeah, oh,
Oh,
no,
yeah, it's happening.
Oh, I know. Well, we saw it with Giselle. The same thing.
Yeah.
Right?
And just for the record, she if she ran to me, it would give me the ick instantly.
Wow.
Like be an
But-
adult. Like,
What about if your
Jesus.
dog ran to you and jumped on you? He'd be like, "Oh, that's great."
He's a dog. It's different.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
I
then
would
a
kill
woman.
to have Beth run to me.
I know.
Run.
She only runs away from me.
No.
Dogs can embrace us. Women can't.
Be an adult. What are you, 16?
Be an adult. Oh my god.
Kind of agree.
Oh,
No, but I do think I do think
love you.
it was like he
And
just
you're in
came
your
back
30s,
from
for
his.
God's sake.
It
It
just
was
like he came back from
war.
Right.
It was like one of those surprise
Yeah.
reveals.
And there's no way that she didn't know he was there,
right,
right?
of
She
course.
was singing,
See,
like
yeah.
putting his name in the song,
Yeah,
right?
It was just
Yeah.
so performative.
Oh.
Did
Oh.
put his name in the song.
Connor's a guy from the Chiefs. Yeah. She'd be one of
Yeah.
those.
If I was him, I'd be like, I'm out. Yeah, see ya. Goodbye.
Yeah, he has
I'm
like
out.
It'd be
billions of reasons to stay
It'd be
invested.
good if like
He's
right
got
after
his own money. He's
right
good.
after the Eagles.
Not like
She doesn't
her.
have Taylor
though.
Swift
That's
money, though.
Taylor Swift money.
If I was on the Eagles and we beat him and they were talking, we'd be like, "Karma's a bitch," and then I just walked away. You know.
Here's your
Huh?
karma.
Did you take anybody?
Eagles.
Wow, you guys are all in the Eagles.
Yeah, I can take the Eagles. I just think I don't know the Chiefs. The Patriots have had years like this too, where
I think they're just due for a loss.
they're good,
but not as good as they normally
but
are,
you just
despite the
can,
record.
You
Yeah.
can tell by the
Yeah.
eye test that there's just something missing.
I would
from
agree
this
with
Chiefs
that.
team.
However, I'm still going to take Kansas City.
Yeah.
Coming off the bye at home, big game, everybody's focused.
Andy Reid off a bye is like undefeated, so
Yeah.
that's a good.
And you know the way the
I knew
Eagles.
that.
Tell me that.
And I agree with Evan about the Eagles. Like they're 8-1, but it doesn't seem that way.
No,
like
he was talking about the Chiefs.
oh,
Yeah.
I think they're.
I'm talking about the Eagles.
No, yeah, you're still
Both
right
ways.
though. I mean,
Both
the
ways.
Eagles are slow start. I think the Eagles are starting to find their mojo. Though.
yeah. I'm gonna go with the Eagles. But the Chiefs' defense is playing really well. I think.
I agree.
You know.
Yeah,
That's why
Trey McDuffie is
that's
all
why
the-
they're
the
7-2 or
rage.
whatever.
You know
they
what?
are.
I'm switching.
Oh,
I'm going with the Chiefs.
allowed?
I just talked myself into it. Yeah, sure.
Now I have crossouts.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna,
OCD
I
going
think the
crazy.
Chiefs' defense bottles up Hurts and
This is
pulls
when
this
my
game off.
integrity is
Yeah.
called into question. What did you scribble out there?
Oh,
Like,
you should have someone notarize it.
Yeah.
Just make Fred put his initials.
That's why
next to
it's chalk. You have an eraser.
Nah.
You can erase chalk. You know.
Oh, let's not get into
Evan's
this
old
again.
term.
Apparently, that was no one knows what that means.
No.
What's chalk?
Chalk is
Favorite.
when something is going to happen. You believe it's going to happen.
I-
That's chalk. That's what I learned from Dan Lipschatz.
Aren't you a chalk talk guy? Come on.
I am a chalk talk guy.
All right. That's it for this show. We actually didn't have to hurry because we don't have Catch-22 breathing down our neck. That was...
and we also don't have to pick the Patriots game.
Yeah.
It's not just that.
That was recorded before, so if you want to catch
don't you see what
Catch-22
Boston
after the
Cream
show,
has to say on
you
the
can
phone?
do that. Next week,
Guess
we'll be
not.
back regular time, Tuesday, getting ready for the Giants. No game this weekend, so enjoy yourself. I'm sure you'll be watching football, but we'll be talking to you. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.